We excluded my brother's rude girlfriend from our wedding. She threw a fit.
Get out of here.
Hi, everyone. I'm in a tough spot and not sure if I'm in the wrong. Don't worry, we'll tell you. John, what do you think? Wrong or right?
Wrong.
I, 30 male, am getting married in 3 months to my fiance, 28 female, which is the same age as my mom birthed me.
Nice.
And we decided to keep the ceremony pretty small, about 50 guests, mostly close family and dear friends. We don't really have the money for any more people. And by the way, this comes from Joseph Wetter. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/okstorytime.reddit. So my brother, 35 male, has been dating a woman. Let's call her 32 female, Anna, for about a year. They're not married and don't live together yet, but they're clearly serious. However, Anna has been a problem since the beginning. In the few instances we've interacted, she's made some snide comments about my fiance and our wedding choices. For example, she criticized the fact that we're having a child-free wedding. She said, our menu sounds too basic. We chose traditional Italian food, nothing fancy. What? Do you have something wrong with pasta?
Salami.
Hey, you know what? I only want to know one thing. Where's the gabagool?
Mozzarella balls.
I love my cousin's fresh ziti. Come on. Oh, it's delicious. I've been watching a lot of Sopranos, so I know a lot of Italian dishes now. Once in front of the whole family, she joked that she doesn't see our marriage lasting long. My fiance feels uncomfortable around Anna, and honestly, I do too. When we sent out the invitations, we only included my brother, assuming the reason would be obvious. We don't want Anna with us at all. Get her off the guest list. Get her off with her head. Put her in the stocks.
Oh, man.
Give her some cement shoes.
You love those stocks, man.
Let her float to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, jeez.
You know, maybe she can annoy some fish. Well, it wasn't. When Anna found out she wasn't invited, she blew up. An explosion enough to melt steel beams, they say. She called me saying it's a matter of respect. As my brother's partner, she would automatically get an invite, the auto invite. My brother agrees with her and even threatened not to come if we don't invite her too. Now my parents have stepped in, saying it's just one day and we should try to keep the peace in the family. But my fiance and I feel like inviting Anna would mean sacrificing our comfort on one of the most important days of our lives. If Anna's literally in the pew being like, that ain't gonna last while they're getting married, like, do you take that person to be your thing forever? She's like, no way they could do that.
Does anyone object? Yeah, she a hoe.
Yeah, she a hoe. Yeah.
And I'm not telling you need to go Jesus, but you definitely can't stay here.
Yeah. I'll send you to Jesus.
Ooh. Door hits you where the good Lord split you.
I don't want to exclude my brother, but I don't think I'm obligated to invite someone who has been disrespectful to us. So, am I the a-hole? We're going to dive into it. But chat, what do you think? John, what do you think? Let me know.
I think, and it reminds me again of the crimes of
the crimes. Well, they're crimes against humanity, dear sir. They're crimes against all things that are good. First,
yes,
OP's brother's girlfriend, who they're serious, by the way, said that won't last long.
Terrible.
The marriage, talking about the marriage, and has talked about how Italian food ain't up to snuff.
Wow.
Which Italian cuisine, I would like to say, the backbone of this country.
Right.
And it's just a general tool bag. Just a bag of tools. None of them useful, actually. It's like a bag. It's like a bag of tools, but like all the tools are like those, like not the Phillips heads. They're the flat ones.
Yep.
And
It is a Phillips head, right?
No, Phillips head is
that's the 4.
It's like imagine what Phillips head looks like.
Looks like a head.
It looks like a dome.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Got that dome piece on.
Got that dome. You got that dome. But yeah, no, that Anna does not deserve.
Okay. At first, I was thinking like, hey, if anyone doesn't want to come, if you don't want someone to come to your wedding, it's generally your wedding. Like do what you want. Hearing the crimes listed back out again, other than her being like this person just sucks. Those two things she said are definitely terrible, but I don't know if that's worth it yet.
Then have her at your wedding.
I
How about your wedding,
That's
John?
what I'm thinking about.
If you like her so much.
I'm not saying.
Sounds like you love her.
No, I don't. Do not. No, I do not.
John wants to marry Anna.
That is
Completely
factually
John have a
incorrect.
girlfriend fry.
All right.
In hot water.
Take her out.
Yeah.
Go to jail.
Yeah.
Underwater. Jail.
Yeah.
There
Put
he
her in
is
stocks.
with the
Throw
fishes.
tomatoes at her.
Annoy
Get her
them.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
it
what
is.
I'm talking about.
There you go.
I thought we almost lost him.
Oh man, man was in hot water.
Yep. We should have a picture of his girlfriend like right there, so like he never acts up again.
Right? I could just go,
Yeah.
yes.
It would be funny to have a picture of Naima in the back on your side.
Just like her face.
Yeah,
watching
just
over
like
you,
looking, like
right
glaring
here.
at John.
Like right
Staring
here,
down.
like right in this
Just be
area.
we got some comments. You are absolutely not obligated to invite someone, and you have multiple valid reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One, you chose to have a small wedding with limited guests, which is absolutely your prerogative. She has repeatedly made snide comments about your wedding choices. She's even gone so far as to say she doesn't see the marriage lasting long. Who would ever invite someone who felt like that about their marriage to come celebrate it with them? Keeping the family peace should be said more often to the problem person, not the victims of the crappy behavior. Why aren't your parents encouraging your brother to keep the peace by accepting your choices for your own wedding? He also needs to understand that his girlfriend's own crappy behavior is the reason she's not invited.
Ooh.
At the end of the day, I'd stand your ground. He can either attend or not. And likewise for your parents. Ooh, extends to the parents.
Whoa.
We got a reply from O People. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, parents and like already at the brother. I'm like, I want my brother. You know what I think this is? I feel like they're like,
Well, if you want the parents to come, why don't you invite them to your wedding?
go to the ocean. Parents, ocean, brother, ocean, aunts, cousins, uncles, ocean, ocean, ocean,
Ocean.
ocean.
Yeah, like 1970s trash. Like, oh, if we just shoot all the trash in the ocean,
Oh wow,
that'll be fine.
that's crazy. They did that.
I'm doing it.
That looks great.
Okay, cool. I'll do it.
Yeah, but what do you really think, John?
I really think that, man, like the brother is already like, I want to invite the brother. Now the parents, like, I don't know, like. Unless we get a list of like other reasons why they're being disrespectful to OP, I don't have enough evidence yet that they deserve to be uninvited. I know it's serious. I know the Anna's serious with the brother, but give us more details because I don't have enough yet.
Well, John, I am so glad you asked because we got a reply from the one, the only OP. OP replied, "Thank you for all this. You've summed up my feelings better than I could have myself. I completely agree that keeping the peace should be directed at the person causing the conflict, not to the people dealing with it.
True facts.
My parents seem to think that keeping my brother happy is the easiest way to avoid drama. But that just leaves me and my fiance to carry the burden. It's frustrating because we've done nothing to provoke Anna. Her behavior is the root issue here. As much as I want my brother there, I feel like inviting someone who openly disrespects us would set a bad precedent for the future, and also it's just like it's like bad vibes. Like it could invite bad spirits and bad juju into your wedding ceremony.
It's true.
It's like if you're becoming a made man and you see a crow in the window. Like, I mean, what does that mean?
There's a crow
In the
And
window.
It's in the window.
It's in the window. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it could be a bad thing. It's not just about the wedding day, though. It's about standing up for what it's right.
Ooh,
For what's right. It's about standing up for what's right.
Say it again.
Say it again. Hallelujah. Preach to us, because we will tell you.
Oh yeah.
If that costs me some family goodwill, I guess that's a trade I am willing to make. Thanks again for the validation. Sometimes you just need to hear from someone else to feel less crazy. But guess what? There's more to the story. Oh my God. Comment 2. Just tell him she doesn't support your marriage. And as this day is literally you getting married, why would she want to come? Also, the wedding is child-free, so she couldn't come anyway.
Ooh.
Burn.
Now that is good.
Oh.
Commenter number 2
Whoa.
going crazy.
Whoa.
I love to see
Say
it.
it again.
Say it again.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. What? Say it again. Also, the wedding is child-free, so she couldn't come anyway.
He said it again.
He said it again. Ask your parents why you can't keep the peas in the family for just one gosh darn day. Looks like they have revealed who the golden child is. And OP replied, actually, my parents are very protective about me, but sometimes it seems like this makes them feel guilty about my brother. So they became extra sensitive about issues between us. Don't know if this makes sense. And comment 3, unless your parents are paying, they have no say. You don't have to like who your sibling does. Do what you want at your wedding. If people don't like it, they're not people who have your back. Opie replied, thank you, no. We did it with our own strength. Also because we wanted to do it on our own terms, in terms of not having their parents pay for it.
Yeah.
And we got a little update.
Oh, baby.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your comments and advice on my original post. It was incredibly helpful to read different perspectives, and I'm happy to share an update now that the situation has been resolved.
Ooh.
After reflecting on everything, I decided to have a direct conversation with my brother. I explained that the decision to not invite Anna wasn't about disrespecting their relationship, but about the hurtful comments she made.
That's true. That's big facts.
That is big facts.
Biggest facts.
And how they made my fiance and me feel. I told him that our wedding is a day for us to feel safe and supported. And I wasn't willing to compromise on that. At first, my brother was defensive, but eventually he admitted he hadn't realized how much Anna's words had affected us.
There you go.
I also made it clear that if Anna truly wanted to come, she would need to reach out to us, acknowledge the past behavior, and commit to being respectful at the wedding.
Yes.
To my surprise, Anna actually texted me yesterday. She apologized for her comments, saying she didn't realize how much they hurt us. She promised to behave appropriately and assured me that she wanted to celebrate our big day without causing drama. Pause here.
Hey.
Do we want that? Do we like that? Do we want it? Do we like it?
I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. Do we like it enough to bring her back in the wedding? Is it enough evidence against a, from what we know, long history of
long history. Long history. While I'm still cautious, I appreciated her effort and sincerity. So I agreed to let her come with clear boundaries in place. One thing I really want to highlight is how much my parents stepped up after our initial conversations. When I told them how important it was for my fiance and me to feel supported, they even talked to my brother and reminded him that this is our day and that respecting our choices should be the priority. Their support made a huge difference, and it honestly strengthened my resolve to stick to what felt right for us. The final agreement is this. Anna will attend the wedding. The problem person is there.
Whoa.
Yep.
Big moves. Big moves.
But only under the condition
Okay.
that she respect our boundaries. If there's any inappropriate behavior, my fiance and I reserve the right to ask her to leave by force, by beheading.
Wow. That's
Leave this earth. Leave this earth.
pretty intense.
Yep.
Pretty extreme.
We'll keep the head there, though.
Wow.
Body
Goodness
leaves,
gracious.
head on the chair.
Oddly specific.
You can still watch. Your ghost will be there. Question: if you get decapitated, does your ghost stay with the body or the head?
If I get decapitated, does my ghost stay with the body, or it doesn't stay with either? Just goes
Nothing gets past him. Nothing gets past him.
Goes to Ghostland.
She agreed, and my brother seemed relieved that we found a solution. We're now feeling much more at peace and excited about the wedding. Thank you again to everyone who commented. You gave the clarity and confidence to navigate this situation in a way that worked for us. We do have some comments.
Okay.
To all the people still crying about whether the apology was genuine or not, you clearly don't understand how to handle real-life situations. It doesn't matter if she meant it. What matters is that the responsibility is off my shoulders and onto my brother. If she screws up, she's finally the one who will take the fall, and I won't have to deal with the fallout. That's how you handle people like this. You don't waste time demanding sincerity from someone who's already shown you who they are. You put them in a position where they have everything to lose. Sit back and move on with your life. Try it sometime. Whoa. OP is not holding back.
Just really going for it over there.
Yeah, just shopaying. Wing, zoom, zoom. That's a bullet, kind of like.
Oh, wow.
and it's like
The ricochet.
yeah, the ricochet, and it's like, oh, it's killing everyone.
Ouch.
All the wedding guests are now also decapitated.
All the heads and the
It's
ghosts.
like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Remind me.
What? Whenever he has. and he
Oh
has the arrow-
yes, yeah.
Yes.
That
yes.
exactly.
That was for Sam, not you.
yeah.
I've seen them all. Maybe I haven't.
No, you definitely seen one.
You've had to.
I've definitely seen one. Yeah.
Yeah. You saw the second one, didn't you?
On the plane. The
Yeah.
one with the grandpa.
Yeah.
Remember, yeah, you told me about that one.
Maybe I didn't see
You
the
find
first
his
one.
father.
You know, but he's in that one. I'm so glad to hear things worked out in the end. It sounds like you handled the situation with a lot of maturity and care. Setting clear boundaries and having that direct conversation with your brother was the right move. Yondu. Yep. It's great that Anna took responsibility for her comments and that your parents had your back into supporting your decisions. It must feel like a weight has been lifted. And I'm sure your wedding day will be much more peaceful and enjoyable now. Wishing you and your fiance all the best.
There we go.
And OP replies, definitely a big ol' weight has been lifted from my shoulders, and now I can enjoy the process. And update 2. We got another update
Woo!
in this house.
Updates on updates.
Updates on updates.
So many.
This house is like that one scene in Harry Potter 1 where all the letters are flying in. And it's like each letter is a new update, and Harry's grabbing them. It's like, oh my God, there's so many updates.
And then whenever you open them, they're always in order because it's magic.
Exact. Magic.
That's what we need to do for our Dono Printer V2. They're magic flying letters, and they just fly around, and then we grab
And they have
them.
our faces, and it's like, you know, when they do the Harry Potter pictures, and there's like,
Yeah.
Eddie, get on that.
yeah. Eddie, what are you doing?
Let's figure it out, guys.
Come on.
Wake up.
Let's go, team.
Update. All right. Since some people are still questioning whether Anna's apology was genuine or if her brother actually wrote it for her, honestly, I don't care. What matters is that she did it. Whether she meant it or not, the responsibility for her behavior has now shifted entirely onto my brother. He vouched for her. He convinced me to let her come. And now if she does anything, the blame will be on her, not me.
Here we go.
Everyone in the family now fully understands who the real problem is, so I no longer have to stress about trying to prove anything. If she screws up, she's the one who will face the consequences, and I won't have to lift a finger. By the way, I don't want you to have to face the consequences for not listening to our podcast that's released twice every day.
You don't want to see those consequences.
The consequences will be dire if you don't go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen to this podcast. You could do it while at a wedding. You could do it while at a funeral. You could do it at 4 weddings and a funeral. You could do it while looking into the eyes of a man with a middle part and glasses.
It's more to the left, but that's okay. That's you.
Go listen to the podcast. But we got a little bit more to this story. At the end of the day, I don't need her to be a friend. I don't need to trust her. And I definitely don't need to care about whether her apology was heartfelt or just damage control. Do we need to care?
I mean, I do think it is important, but I guess and I don't, they're like, oh, it's magically cured. Like, I mean, the family could still go through their stupid Olympic level logic and be like, oh, why'd you kick her out? Da, da, da. So I don't know that it like is this like magical thing that solves their problems. But to Opie's point, it does kind of very much help and alleviate. I would hope it's genuine. My goodness.
I don't think it's genuine. I think it's a bunch of baloney.
From what Opie's saying, it seems like baloney.
I think it potentially, I think the baloney potential is like fairly high.
But maybe she's been like shamed into behaving now.
Yeah. I think exactly. I think we have a behavioral shift originating from shame, but you know, sometimes that's what you got to do if you're playing the game.
Sometimes what you got to do.
What you got to do. All I care about is that she knows she's on thin ice. My brother is the one keeping her in check, and if she so much as breathes wrong at my wedding, breathes wrong. Yeah, give me a wrong breath. Yeah, that. I don't want that at my wedding. Disgusting. Yeah, that neither. Yeah, oh, yeah. Don't want.
That.
I don't want any of that.
None of that. Get out of here.
I don't want any
Get it out.
of that.
Get it out.
She's the one who will burn for it, not me.
Oh God.
So yeah, I'm done worrying about this. Whatever happens, happens, and I'll enjoy my wedding regardless. Thanks again to everyone who gave solid advice. I really appreciate it. We got some comments.
Yo.
OP, please make sure she's on the end of group wedding photos. Easier to delete when your brother sees the lights.
Oh, jeez.
OP replied, I actually laughed out loud. Good piece of advice, man. And comment to, why does someone insist so much to come to a wedding where they're not wanted? And OP replied, I think it's a matter of principles and appearance at the same time. It would look bad for my brother's couple to not be together, and she still wants to feel part of the family. Not coming, she would feel rejected also by my parents. That is where this story ends.
Whoa.
But this next story just begins.
Oh.
Because with every door closing, another one opens.
There we go, baby.
So we got another story for you, but I think OP has the right mindset. I'm not convinced this person's going to be good, but I think she may have been shamed into being good.
Yeah.
So I think there's a higher probability.
Yeah. I think so.
My sister is furious that I refuse to be her surrogate, so I moved out.
Bye-bye.
I, 37 female, and fiance, 37 male, are trying for another baby. I normally share everything with my family about my life, as I don't like holding on to secrets from my family. The other month, my sister spoke to me and mentioned how it was so nice that no one in her family was trying or pregnant, as every time someone said they were either one of those, she felt deflated because she doesn't have children, and then she proceeded to tell me why she couldn't have children, which she has told me repeatedly since finding out she can't have children. Then she asked the question that I knew she was going to ask me. By the way, this comes from Agreeable Self 2032 on the OK Storytime subreddit. She asked if maybe I could possibly help her and be a surrogate for her, as I have completed my family. She said, my children are from a previous relationship, and my fiance had always dreamed of having a child, even though he counts my 2 children as his. I was so shocked by what she had asked that I asked if she had asked others before asking me, and she said they're younger and might still have children in a year or 2, so she didn't ask them. I just looked shocked, and she said, well, it's not like you're using it, is it? I looked at her dumbfounded that she was asking me this. It gets worse. She made an appointment with her doctor, and it was the following day. It was like she was ordering me to go. I went home and told my fiance, and he said we can hold off on our baby if you want to help your sister have a baby. That is like
W husband.
It does not seem like that's what OP wants, but
No.
husband for being like, you know what, whatever you want, if this is what you want, I'll support you.
That's a great husband, especially again since he's not the father of your 2 children.
Yeah, and we already know that he wants to have more kids.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm on your side.
I don't like the sister
Sister
already
sucks.
being like, I made a doctor's appointment tomorrow without your consent.
Yeah. So you're having my baby.
You gotta have to come.
It's not the fact I don't want to help her, but there's other ways of doing surrogacy. It doesn't have to be a family member. I told him I wasn't happy about doing it, and that neither would my other sisters and 2 sister-in-laws. So why was it different for her to expect I'd do it? My mom texted me asking if I was okay because she got a weird text from my sister who wants me to be a surrogate for her, stating that I had a cold heart because I didn't react the way she thought I would about being her surrogate. I explained to my mom that it just didn't sit with me, the attitude demanding that I become her surrogate, and that she had an appointment booked for the following day. What my mom didn't tell me, but my dad did because he was livid by what the plan was, the appointment was to talk about the donation of my eggs to my sister, then put back inside me. So in other words, I would be carrying my own child, but the father would be her new boyfriend. I got off the phone and looked at my fiance, and I burst into tears. My parents knew he had heard everything because I had put them on speakerphone so he could listen. Literally 2 hours passed, and I had fallen asleep to be woken up by my fiance saying that my phone hasn't stopped ringing. He had been declining if it were any of my family to give me a break. To then me getting a text which he had to wake me up for because it said the following. Hospital appointment is at 1 p.m. We'll pick you up at 9 a.m. and you're to spend the day with us. You will do this.
What? You will do this?
This is insane. So I replied back saying, do what? Just be your surrogate? Or am I to donate my eggs to you and carry my biological child for you? Because that's what the baby will be if I donate my eggs to you, won't it? She replied back saying, the baby will be biologically mine. We have the same DNA, idiot. Be ready now. We'll pick you up and you can stay at our house so we know where you are. Are they trying to kidnap OP?
It looks like OP has zero choice here.
I knew she was going to say this, and with her living 30 minutes away from me, I rushed upstairs and grabbed stuff to stay somewhere. My fiance phoned his parents, and they said I could stay with them until this died down. I've been at my future in-laws for a month. Basically, we all moved into theirs. He's the only child, and their house is huge and can fit us all, but it shouldn't be like this, hiding away from my sister, who clearly just wants my womb. She hasn't stopped texting me telling me that I'm an a-hole and ruining her life, life, but am I? I need to clarify, I did tell CS that I was not comfortable doing either of them what she wanted me to do, and she blew up. And there is an update, but pausing really quick before we jump into it. No, you're not the a-hole. Your sister's crazy.
Zero a-hole.
Your sister is insane. Anyone who demands your womb and thinks that they have some sort of claim over it, regardless of their relation to you, is crazy.
No, it's your womb. Literally your womb. Your choice. And the fact that she's demanding it and like...
Yeah, saying like, we're going to come pick you up now. Be ready.
You have no choice in this. Your womb is ours. Like, what?
Today, my dad and my brothers with their wives are meeting me at my father-in-law's house. My other two sisters have decided to choose a side and will be coming up with their husbands. This is to discuss, and I wanted to update you. My CS, crazy sister, and her possible mental state. My dad was talking to her new boyfriend, we'll shorten to NB. They have dated just under a year, and he's standing my crazy sister, but doesn't agree with her wanting to use me for a surrogate and to use my eggs as well. He thought they had discussed looking into egg donation and that crazy sister would be carrying the baby. He was told I was going to an appointment to support sister, and she said to him that she and me were having a girly night. So she was plotting this whole thing behind his back. It was like, yes, we're having a girly night where I kidnap my sister. They moved in recently together after 6 months of dating, and crazy sister went to stay with my mom after the incident with me, which no one knew until new boyfriend told my dad. Dad is separating from mom unless she sees she was part of the situation, and still is by siding with crazy sister, and it wasn't the right way about it as she knew it was wrong. I guess the mom was on the crazy sister's side.
Girls' night.
I don't get that. I don't get that. Crazy sister will be offered again therapy, and this will be paid for by my dad. She will be told not to contact me until after she's completed her therapy. If she declines again, then my dad doesn't want anything to do with her and will seek legal action so she doesn't come near the family that don't want her in their presence anymore. If she takes the therapy treatment my dad is offering, it's on the ground she doesn't communicate with my sisters and especially me regarding babies. I am putting in this agreement that until further notice, she is not to communicate with me about anything, as I won't be texting her. She's also banned from attending my wedding in 18 months, regardless if she has treatment or not. She is not invited. She is not welcome to celebrate a day of happiness with me and my fiance. I think she would absolutely make it about herself. If she can.
Or like just attack you
Yeah,
with like,
she just-
you're the a-hole because I didn't get to use your womb.
Like, I object because I need you to be my surrogate. OP continues, the reason why my other two sisters did radio silence is the fact that crazy sister did actually ask them to be surrogates. So she did go to other people before OP. And they said no, but that crazy sister carried on texting them both while lying to me saying she hadn't asked them. The only difference was they had gone out for lunch, the three of them, and she sprang it on both of them together, so they had each other's backs. You're probably thinking, did she ask my two sister-in-laws? From what I know, she hasn't, but I don't think she would because she's not that close to our brothers, whereas me and my fiance are always around one of my brothers, and we all get together at least once a week, and our kids are close in age and go to the same schools, so they're close to them. Someone messaged me where my kids were in this situation. They were with their dad. We have 50-50 custody. My children are teens. Their dad remarried a wonderful woman. I'm still friends with my ex, and his wife, I would say, is a very close friend of mine now, as are my fiance and ex. And we treat his wife's kids just like our own. We don't leave them out of things. And on some occasions, if my ex and wife want a date night, her kids will come to ours and have sleepovers with my children. My ex and his wife solely back me up, even my ex saying I always knew crazy sister had a screw loose. My kids are teens and understand what's happened, and they decided to stay half the month with me at father-in-law's house, then the following 2 weeks with their dad. I think the realization to why she came out of nowhere asking me and my sisters is the fact my two sisters have had kids close together. One had her second 2 years ago, and the other had hers 18 months ago. So me and my fiance are thinking she wanted what we have with my brothers, but with the sisters. I need to point out we never exclude her from these get-togethers. There is an open invitation for the siblings, but it's mainly me and my brothers and our families that go to one another's house once a week. Father-in-laws must think we're a crazy family, but in all fairness, I think they adopted my brothers and dad into the family the moment they met them. Lovely.
This is so healthy.
So sweet.
How is the sister so blinded by being crazy?
This is really funny because there is like half of the story is insane sister asking asking insane things to OP, and
Yes.
the other half is like, and we're super chill with my ex and my father, like my in-laws are amazing and everyone loves each other.
Like everyone's family, literally.
My future mother-in-law doesn't like the way my mom deals with things and has on many occasions disagreed with my mom on her treatment towards me, but she felt that she couldn't tell me what to do because that's not her place. While being here a month, my bond with my future in-laws is stronger. By the way, you can make your bond with us stronger by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
This is the last update so far. My future in-laws know me and my fiance are trying for a baby ourselves, and I've said we should tell the family that it's coming today so that they know the reason why I said no, but it's only one out of a dozen reasons why I wouldn't be a surrogate, not just for my sister, but for anyone. I think you need to have therapy before going down the road of becoming a surrogate for anyone. My dad also contacted the clinic to say that I am not consenting. He found a letter in the house when we were collecting more things from the house. I'll update you when I can. Thank you everyone who commented on my last post. I need to clarify, I did tell crazy sister I was not comfortable doing either of what she wanted me to do, and she blew up. Of course she did.
Boom. Bye.
Of course she did, but she doesn't need to blow up your life. Just get her out of it.
My sister accused me of abandoning her just because I have a boyfriend.
You shouldn't date your sister.
That's true. If you love your boyfriend so much, why don't you just marry him?
Yeah.
And then cut out your sister and really abandon her.
Uh-huh.
Good advice. So to preface, I am 25 and my sister is 28. I am the youngest of 4 siblings, but the others are not important to the story. My family is close-knit but hectic. Despite this, I love them greatly and have always been grateful for everything they have sacrificed for me. By the way, this comes from the Salt Supermarket, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit and send them in. Now, on to the mess. Until about 7 months ago, I lived with my sister for 5 years while I attended university. We are besties and have always enjoyed the same things. She sacrificed a lot for me, paying for living expenses my paycheck couldn't cover. She had her own stuff going on that is not my place to talk about, but the result was a lot of arguing. A lot of me saying yes and being a people pleaser because it was easier than trying to argue and stand up for what I wanted.
Boo.
Boo.
Say what you mean.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah, but do it nicely.
But do nicely.
Yeah.
Kind way.
But yeah, like
Honest and kind.
please people in the way that will really please them by telling them what you really think
Whoa.
in a kind way. Bam.
Got him.
Hack.
There it is. So I've since grown from this and live a much better non-toxic lifestyle. During those years, I was desperate to live on my own. Despite this, I still loved and still do love my sister. I've grown exhausted from this type of relationship, though. I want a supportive sister that I could go to, and not a sister that dumps all of her problems on me because she thinks I'm her therapist or something. I graduated with my degrees and now have a full-time job in the same town with my own place, living big, ballin'.
Let's go.
We actually live in the same apartment complex, a decision that was made mostly for my mother's sake. She wanted to know that we could go to each other if there was problems we ran into, think car troubles, bill issues, things like that.
Okay.
I mean,
I think that's fine.
sure, as long as you're not like
I don't know.
forced to be doing
I
it.
feel like that's a little bit too close to live with family, you know.
Tell him, Sam. Tell him. Yeah, that's too close. Imagine living that close to your sister.
Imagine
Like,
living that close.
dude,
Like,
it's-
that would be nuts.
it's
That would be nuts.
impossible.
I would literally never do it.
yeah.
Literally never do it.
You would never in your life. So about 4 to 5 months ago, I started dating my boyfriend.
Ooh.
We've known each other for 2 years, and I've liked him the entire time.
Ooh.
I love him so much. I know this is the man I'm going to marry kind of love. He's always by my side and just amazing. And we kept it a secret for a while, and I wasn't comfortable having it be a public thing. When I was comfortable with the idea of bringing it to my family, I called my mom first. Bad idea. I will get to why, so stay tuned. She was happy for me, and we chatted for a while about him. I asked for advice on telling my sister because she's always been kind of judgmental about my friends and past relationship interests. Also, my whole family has always been way too interested in my relationships. My mom didn't really give me any, though, so I thought hard about it and decided I'd just bring it up to the whole family at Christmas about 3 months into my relationship. I'm just gonna, just pure speculation here, but
You're seeing an ICU?
if you don't want to, if you're like skeptical of like telling your family for like the first few months, why do you think Christmas is the best place? That is like the highest stakes like introduction possible.
Yeah.
Am
Dude,
I wrong?
actually, you are not wrong. Christmas is crazy,
Dude.
but I do think there exists a culture of like, oh, like, are you bringing home someone for Christmas? I feel like there's often like that's like that usually is the holiday in which one introduces their significant other to their family.
That is
that
true.
and Thanksgiving.
But OP's
Actually,
like,
no, less Thanksgiving.
OP's like, my family is hectic and it's only 3 months in.
Yeah,
Seems
I
like
don't
a
know.
recipe for disaster.
I don't know if I would do that.
Possibly.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I would do that.
It's a little early. But come Christmas, my family knew. Guess who told them? My mother. I kind of knew that this was coming. My mom yaps a lot, but even though I told her not to say anything, she still did. It made me feel so angry, betrayed, and sad. Sad that I didn't get the chance to say anything to my family first. This greatly upset my sister, though, the same sister from the title, and I didn't know until about 2 weeks ago. She asked me to help out with the presentation for class. I mentioned I'd be over shortly, and my boyfriend was currently at my place, but is perfectly capable of being alone. Just some light jokes to breach the boyfriend topic in a casual way. So she doesn't tell her I have a boyfriend. She just like throws it out there. Sprinkles it as a casual joke.
I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
What do you think, Chet?
I think the sister's gonna go banana, wana, clanas, but
You didn't tell me.
told me it wasn't official.
So I don't matter? I am just dirt? The dirt didn't know about your boyfriend and neither did I.
Worse than dirt. Scum.
That's what I'm predicting.
Pawn scum.
Pawn scum. Again, this was a terrible thing to say, apparently, because she got really cold. And when I went over, she blew up into an argument, telling me that I've abandoned her, that I don't care about her, and never to talk with her anymore.
Wait, seriously? That is that's wild. That is so over the top.
I'm cutting off contact.
That is so over
You
the
didn't tell
top.
me. You joked about telling me your boyfriend. Cut off contact. Done. Goodbye.
Ugh.
Go away.
Drama. Unnecessary drama.
That's
also too.
Pretty freaking extreme.
Yeah, that's too much.
So she went on about her problems and how it's all because of me having a boyfriend now. A pause. How the heck are her mental issues because of my life and my relationship? I don't get it either. I consoled her and apologized for not texting that much, even if it's always been like that. I care about my sister. I do. I love her a lot, but I don't want to be my sister's best friend. I have my own life. I'm trying to live and navigate. I have ambitions, aspirations that I strive for, and it's obvious that my sister is jealous of that. There are a lot of examples of this. Choose any important thing in life. My graduation, upset and crying, crabby during the photos and complaining. My senior art showcase, where I got an award, made my family late because she was self-conscious and crying, made them leave early afterwards. Me getting a full-time job, same kind of thing.
How? What? How can you get upset of someone getting a full-time job?
Because she's jealous. Because she's jealous. She's a big old jellyfish.
So you got a job and didn't even offer me one.
Yeah. You didn't even give me a cut.
Wow.
Oh my!
Here I was being a great sister all these years, and you didn't give me a freaking 15%, man.
She thinks she's being a great sister, but I think she's a sister that lacks any scruples. Scruples
so you're telling me
non-existent.
there's no scruples?
There's not a scruple in sight. I was
Wow.
looking. I was looking for a scruple. No scruples.
What is that?
What?
What's a scroop?
What's a scruple? You never heard of the word
No.
unscrupulous?
Don't ask him. Don't ask him that
You ever
question.
heard unscrupulous person?
No.
Tell him, Sam.
Well, an unscrupulous person is a person who has no scruples.
That's so true.
Unscrupulous means no morals, no values.
Oh, okay. There's the definition.
Yeah. LMAO, what did you find? No scruples.
That's
That's what I found. Not a one.
Deep digging research.
Not one.
Back to my relationship, though. Not that long ago, at a birthday party for a friend, my sister kind of cons me into being the designated driver because she wants to drink. Okay, I do too. But of course, I can't say no to her or it's an issue. So I drive down the street to the party. It gets to be about 12:30, 1 a.m., and I am exhausted. I want to leave, and my sister, she ignores me. I tell her more firmly that I want to leave and that she can stay to call me or have her friend that lives across the hall from where the party was taking place to take her home. Something, you know? Anyway, more problems, more words. She is convinced that I am leaving her to walk alone at 3 a.m. because I don't give a crap about her.
I walk this lonely road, only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk alone.
Nice.
I walk this empty street.
We're going to get demonetized.
So, yelling and arguing in the middle of the party where neither of us know, only the host and the birthday person. I'm embarrassed and starting to cry, so I leave into the hallway, sobbing at how she was treating me. I'm in the hallway and can still hear her ranting and raving to the other people, but I don't give a crap about her, how I'm selfish, and it all started because I got a boyfriend. Oh, no, dude.
Bro.
Crashing out. Sister's crashing out.
It seems, I mean, she's probably just like built her whole maybe life around being jealous of her sister or something.
And also, I think she like depends on her as her like basically how someone depends on their like romantic partner, their husband or wife. Like she's like, okay, you're just gonna like take everything for me. Even more. And I didn't even tell her when I got a boyfriend. How I never talk to her unless I need something or to complain. But if you need something, if you need like 2,000 episodes of something,
of something special.
Oh, something goofy, something
that will just get you hot and bothered.
Do I got the gift for you? Okay, Storytime. Full episodes on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
Preach it.
And it's all right there.
It's all right there.
2,000 hours of full episodes. So listen
Probably
to those.
more than 2,000 hours.
More than 2,000 hours. We have more to the story. Actually, a good bit left.
A good chunk.
But Sister is absolutely crashing out, saying all of these things. I feel like we're kind of reaching an impasse here. What do we do? We are OP. What do we do?
I think what we do here, change your name, go into the hills.
Wow.
Create a new life.
Bold move.
Away from sister. Because I mean, all right, like I'm kidding about that, but the sister like knows where you live. You know, she lives in the same building.
Down the hall.
I feel like she can like really mess up your life. I think it's going to be hard to create like a barrier or boundary here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And also, little thing I'm picking up on, but like the
She seems
mom
unstable.
was like, oh, I want you guys to live together. I feel like the whole family is kind
Knows
of
that
like,
she's a little crazy and she's like, oh, that's true.
I didn't even think about that, but yes.
Oh.
You deal with her.
Yeah, you deal with her.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
If she can go and knock on OP's door, is she going to call mom and just yap her ear off for 2 hours?
That is a excellent point, my dear Watson. Yeah, dude, extremely shrewd deduction. I really do think this is an offload of the sister because she's a little wacky.
Oh yeah.
And very tacky.
Oh yeah. But there is more. It hurt hearing about how much she just hates me. I'm embarrassed because she is wasted yelling in this party of people that she doesn't know very well. I go back to see if I can get her to stop and if I'm taking her home or not. She yells at me to just effing leave.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
Too much.
A little bit too much.
So I do. I go sob in the stairwell with the party host, who's a good friend of mine. She consoles me through an awful panic attack and sob fest. That, what my sister said, was unwarranted and an awful thing to say. Time and place, you know? She talks to me about my boyfriend and calms me down enough for me to drive home and call him. Overall, it was the single most awful night of my life.
Ooh.
And it wasn't even on my own wasted self that was the cause. Come on.
Awful night of your life. That's rough.
She has yet to apologize for how she acted, and I don't think she will because I have abandoned her for my boyfriend. So, am I the a-hole? Before we get into the comments.
No, you're not the a-hole. The sister is a piece of work that, I mean, I don't know how you deal with it, but I mean, like, you got to set boundaries somehow, but
yeah, maybe
it's going to be hard. It's like, it feels like you're being offloaded.
Yeah, maybe it's just like, hey, like, I want to be in your life. Like, I love you as my sister. I do. But like, if you keep doing stuff like this, like, it's
going to be hard to have any kind of relationship with you.
It's going to be hard to want to continue with you.
Yeah. I'm not going to want to continue.
But we do have
I'm
some
going to walk a
relevant
lonely road.
Ooh.
The only one that I have ever known.
Only one.
only one
Not two,
that
not three.
I have ever known.
Mhm.
And OP's like not going to know where it goes.
Not at all.
But, it's only me. And, I walk alone.
You do walk alone.
Yeah. Don't know.
Well, you got us.
Don't know.
You'll never.
Don't know. Don't know.
No, don't doubt yourself. You do know.
Don't know.
You do know.
And I want to know how the story ends.
Me too.
Well, producer Riley, I got you. We got some relevant comments with commenter number 1. Why are you entertaining her crap? Stop letting her hijack your life. No is a complete sentence, and frankly, I'd block her and put her on a 6-month no contact timeout, and you need therapy to unpack why you let your family walk all over you. Boundaries are a thing. Figure them out and set them down hard. Don't let anyone, much less your mom or your sister, cross those hard boundaries.
Those rock hard boundaries.
And for the love of God, move! Put some distance between you and your sister. Living in the same complex isn't a good thing right now. Maybe try finding something closer to your work, but at least a good 30 minutes walking distance from her. You are not a child. Stop letting them treat you like one, not the a-hole. And then commenter number 2 says, do you go to her mostly to complain and when you need something? I feel like I'm missing a huge piece here. She was the selfless sister that sacrificed to give you a better life with her childhood. Now she's the devil. OP did mention that in the beginning. What am I missing? OP responds to that. I don't just go to complain. I talk to her about our favorite games and shows and all of that, just not 24/7 like how it was living with her. I think part of the change between us has been her own mental struggle too. It's not like she talks to me about that though, like how I'm still private about parts of my life. I'm not upset with her for not confiding in me, but is she upset that I don't? I don't understand what she wants from me. And then OP also says this in the comment section, a comment for everyone who has given me advice on this. Thank you so much for your kind words and tough love. I felt very much alone in this until I confided in my boyfriend about it and decided to mention it here. He is 100% by my side, and I think he would have some strong words if he'd met my sister. I'm definitely going to consider low contact with my sister.
I think that's necessary at this point.
I liked your earlier idea in another story of timeout.
Timeouts timeouts that are increasing with time. So it's like your first timeout is like a month, and then if you do something whack, then it's 2 months, then it's 4 months, then it's 8 months.
Because it kind of builds in like, hey, you have some time to like think about and, come correct back to me. And it also gives you some space, and, it's an elegant solution. It's an elegant solution.
All right, I'm all about that elegance.
Oh, yes, he is. You see the top of his head, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Now as for my mom, I'm not sure what to do with her. Therapy has been considered for a while regarding my family, and this situation has pushed me into it to actually find it. Fingers crossed that things will get better. If they don't, I might just have to run away with my partner. Oh no, what a terrible thought. Sarcastic, I see you, OP. And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's it.
That's freaking it.
So I think basically just what we said, have at least some sort of space and distance from a sister. She's doing too much.
I think that's it.
She's doing absolutely too much.
I found out I have a secret brother, and it did not break the family apart.
Secret brothers usually don't, right?
I don't know. I only have a sister that I know of. No secret brothers. A few years ago, I, 27 female at the time, received a message on Instagram from Philip, fake name, 32 male at the time, claiming to be my brother. By the way, this comes from user Mysterious Care 7024. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. For some context, I am the oldest to my parents, and I have one younger sister, 24 female at the time. My sister and I are relatively close considering we live in different states now, and I'm very close to my mom. My dad and I have always had a strained relationship, but it has become significantly better since I moved away to go to college at 18. It is important to know that my dad is adopted. My grandparents were wonderful people, but passed away several years ago. After they passed, my dad found his bio mom after a lot of insisting on my end. I never really felt like I fit in with my dad's side of the family and had hoped meeting his biological family would help connect some dots for me. Okay, that makes more sense now. When my dad met bio grandma, it didn't go very well. She got pregnant as a teen and had to hide the pregnancy to avoid her mom from forcing her to get termination. As a result, she developed a chip on her shoulder. When dad and her first met, she referred to him as her son and told him that as his mother, she wasn't happy with his behavior. My dad makes jokes to ease the tension and was lovingly teasing my sister and I during this encounter. She also called my dad by the name she gave him when he was born and not his actual name. I'm glad we met her, but I will never have a meaningful relationship with her. She isn't my grandma, but I have a lot of respect for the sacrifices she made to give birth to my dad. Bio grandma let my dad know that his half-siblings didn't know he existed, and she has it in her will that upon her death, they will be told of his existence. When he told me this, I was 17, 18 around that time. I told him that would be a terrible way to find out you had a secret sibling because you can never get closer from your parent. I asked my parents then and there if I had any secret siblings, and if they told me then that I wouldn't be mad. I just wanted to know. They both laughed and assured me that I didn't, and that my little sister Renee was my only sibling. Fast forward to when I was 27. I was sitting in the office talking to my husband about what our lives would look like when our baby arrived. I was barely in my 3rd trimester with our firstborn. My husband John left the room to do laundry, and I was lying in our guest bed trying to gather the energy to get up and go to bed. I received a message from a strange guy on Instagram whose account had a blue check mark, and I considered opening the message. I then realized what a strange guy typically sends to a woman, and decided against opening the message. I felt weird about having a potential saucy pic on my phone without telling John, so I went into our room and handed him my phone and asked him to read it to me. I figured we can both laugh about it and then go to bed. When John began reading the message, his face went from gleeful to pale, and he told me he didn't feel comfortable reading it. I laughed and told him he was being ridiculous and just to read it. The message read, "Hello, OP. My name is Philip. Since 2012, I have known that I'm your half-brother. Your father, blank space, OP's father, is my biological father. Your father and I have only spoken twice in my life, I am 32. Since having a child of my own, it has weighed heavily on my mind that you do not know of my existence. I decided to reach out to you for that exact reason alone, to just say hello and let you know I exist. I do not want anything from you or your family, and I certainly do not wish you any harm. I hope you have led a wonderful, joyous life. If you do feel the need or want to contact me, my number is blank and my email is blank. All the best, your brother, Philip."
Dude.
That is crazy.
That's a saucy tea pick right there.
Yeah, you got more than a saucy pick.
Oh my gosh.
You got yourself a saucy brother.
I wouldn't even know where to begin if I got that in my DM. I would be sending him a DNA kit, being like, "All right, brother, let's check this out."
My first thought was assuming that this person was phishing and somehow had my dad's personal information. So I called my mom and told her someone had dad's info and that I just wanted to let them know. My mom asked who sent the message claiming to be my brother and laughed, telling me how crazy that was. My dad was still awake, so she handed the phone to him, and I told him someone was claiming to be my brother and had his information. My dad asked for their name, and when I told him, he told me it was true. He briefly explained that my brother was an accident before my mom, and he had always paid child support, but because he couldn't stand my brother's mother, and since they lived in a different state, he decided it was best for him to dip out of Philip's life. He started crying. My dad is the old school type of guy who doesn't cry, so this was unsettling, and handed the phone back to my mom. My mom told me she always knew about Philip and tried to get my dad to play a more active role in his life, but never felt it was her place to press the issue or to tell my sister and I. I told her the cat was out of the bag and she needed to tell my sister now.
Yeah.
My mom was hesitant since my sister was about to begin finals in college, and she wanted to wait for Renee to be out of finals before dropping this news on her.
That's
not a bad idea.
Yeah. Because you're worrying about getting A's and then
You're already stressed out in school. You're trying to focus on school.
ooh.
I told her that it was no longer in her control and she needed to finally do the right thing and come clean.
Ooh.
We hung up and she called Renee. About 10 minutes later, my baby sister called me in tears asking if this was true. This absolutely broke me. Renee and I stayed on the phone all night just crying. It's hard to explain to someone who has never been through something like this, but we were mourning the loss of our brother for our entire lives. We would talk about our childhood and then think how unfair it was that Dad went to our soccer games but never his. How Dad taught us how to drive but not Philip. how dad gave us financial advice our entire lives, but Philip didn't have his wisdom to guide him,
I don't
and
know.
so on.
I don't know. Philip's got a blue check mark on Instagram.
I feel like that was the drive that Philip needed more than
I think
having a father
Philip figured
figure.
a few things out.
I get asked a lot if I was angry with my dad for hiding this from me when I had given him an out when I was a teenager. The truth is, I wasn't. I was disappointed and heartbroken, but never angry. I blame the pregnancy hormones, but Philip's mental health became my top priority in all of this. After all, he was the child in this situation. Philip had given me his phone number, so I created a group text with him and Renee, and we told him that we had no idea he existed. We let him know that we would love to get to know our niece/nephew and that we wanted nothing more than to get to know him and how sorry we were that he didn't have dad in his life. Philip had fallen asleep as soon as he sent me the initial message to me, so Renee and I didn't hear from him until the following day. We talked all day once Philip woke up. I found out Philip owns a company to help support the mental health of other dads, as well as a podcast, and he talks about not having a dad in a lot of his IG reels. Okay. His daughter is something he constantly bragged about, and he had told me he had a dream that I was pregnant and that it was time for him to reach out to me.
Dude, that is a powerful dream. Wow. I've heard many a story of people having dreams like this. Not like this, but like
future dreams?
yeah.
Yeah, or like deja vu dreams? Yeah. He let me know that he stalked my Facebook and Instagram for several years. He first found my accounts when he learned my sister and I existed. When he first learned we existed, we were young kids and he was 21. So he wanted to wait to make contact until Renee was 18 at a minimum. When she finally turned 18, he got scared and kept avoiding it until he had his dream. It quickly became obvious that we have very different backgrounds. My sister and I were born and raised in one of the more rural Western states, whereas Philip was born in New York City and raised in Los Angeles.
Wow.
The fact my secret brother had a verified IG account, owned a company, was a professional model, was married into a very wealthy/well-known family, was a professional singer, etc., made the whole thing feel like it wasn't real.
So probably it was the best for him that he didn't live with you. That's what I'm getting from this.
That's what I'm getting as well. That maybe you should give up your kids for adoption.
Yeah, maybe
you know
you
what? Cut that. I don't like that.
Maybe you shouldn't have a father figure.
I
in
don't
your
like
life.
any of that. No, we can't make that funny. My husband would just shake his head anytime we learned something new about Philip and tell me that only I would have something like this happen to them. A month later, Philip flew into town to meet us. I remember I was literally shaking, waiting for my sister to drive him to my house. John was worried about our baby since he had never seen me like that before. Being that I have been through this once with my bio grandma, I told him that this is just how I get, but I would be fine once Philip arrived. Philip jumped out of my sister's car and gave me and my husband a big bear hug once he arrived. Philip is a big teddy bear, I quickly learned, and just wanted to shower us with love, which was very obvious in the video he created about meeting us. So there's a video about this. My dad, especially after going through what he did with his bio mom, was very skeptical of Philip coming out. He initially said he wouldn't ever meet him. The morning after Philip arrived, my dad called and wanted to make sure I was okay since I had effectively invited a stranger into my home for a week while I'm pregnant. I told him that Philip was wonderful, and it wasn't fair that he was making Philip pay for the mistakes his bio mom made him. Later that day, my siblings and I visited John at the winery he works at and met my parents there. My dad and Philip ended up stepping out and having an hour-long heart-to-heart outside. Philip has never gone into much detail about what was said, and neither has my dad, but they did say it was a very good and necessary conversation. During all of this, Philip's marriage was falling apart. He spent his trip leaning on me for marital advice and support. His now ex-wife is not someone I'm a huge fan of, but at the time I was trying my best to remain neutral as I barely knew Philip and had never met his wife. 6 months later, I had my baby, finished the school year, and decided that it was time I brought my family down with Renee and met Philip's family. I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. Like I said, my brother had married into a well-known/wealthy family. My husband is a bit of a redneck at heart and wanted to make a statement of, "This is who I am, take it or leave it." When he met our ex-sister-in-law, we'll call her Julie, and her family. John did this by wearing and using a pocket knife. I genuinely didn't think anything of it. Where we come from, all men have one. It's not really considered a weapon, but more of a practical tool. Riley?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have one all the time.
Okay.
I'm not trying to stab anyone. I'm just like, How many boxes have to open around here? A lot.
Julie had met us and a few minutes later received a package from some company wanting her to post about their products, and she was struggling to open her package. John then grabbed his pocket knife, flipped it open, and offered to open it for her. You should have seen the look on this woman's face. It was like he had pulled a pew-pew on her.
No, just open a box. What? I literally called that.
Yeah. She frantically told him it was okay, and she grabbed a kitchen knife instead. She then assured us that it was understandable that people from our background would want to bring a weapon into the big city. We tried to explain that it wasn't big enough to be a weapon, but there was no convincing her. Philip found this whole interaction to be very humorous.
And pulled his phone out to record it.
Our niece absolutely adored our son, and we couldn't separate them. It was very cute, but it seemed to make Julie very uncomfortable. A few hours later, we went to the house Julie was house-sitting, and she kept making a huge deal about how billionaires lived there and how huge the house was. Renee and I grew up in a rural state where the dollar goes further than it does in LA. We grew up in the upper middle class as well, and I consider us to be very privileged compared to our peers, although our parents are by no means billionaires, let alone millionaires. When Renee and I went to this house, we were shocked on how small it was for all the hype. It was roughly 2,000 square feet and had 4 bedrooms. My sister and I grew up in a bigger home, and while the house was nice, I wasn't awestruck by it, by any means. This also upset Julie. Julie's family came by later to meet us as well as Philip's mom, Mary. It became clear to me that Mary was just trying to social climb and impress Julie's family. She made ignorant remarks such as, "Oh, your dad's tall? I had no idea," when she is a short woman and my brother is 6'2" and I'm 6 foot. I don't know where she thought she got the height from, since it obviously isn't her, and how she can make that comment while cramming her neck up to look at mine with a straight face. But to each their own. Julie's family and Mary brought dinner over, and we were trying to have a small talk. During this time, they were either nitpicking Philip or giving Renee, John, the baby, or myself backhanded compliments. I tend to have a short fuse, so I made a few jabs back at them. I don't remember exactly what I said at that point. After I did this, Julie's family started talking in French and pointing at us.
Ooh. Oh, they're French?
They're
Or are they
French.
Canadian?
I
Because of their French, this checks out. This checks out. Dude, some French people are kind of rude.
By this point, Renee and I were done, and we went back to Philip's apartment for the night. 2 days later, we had finally convinced Philip to quit being Julie's errand boy and to go do something fun with us when Julie decided to keep Philip's bipolar meds from him and take their daughter somewhere else and not tell him where she was. What? I was giving Julie like the benefit of the doubt, being other than being snobby, but now she's kind of cuckoo.
Yeah.
Mary had also been calling and texting him, calling him all sorts of names and telling him he was an unfit parent. Mind you, I am a public school teacher. I see countless unfit parents every year, and I can spot them a mile away. Philip is an amazing father and is by no means unfit. At this point, Philip has introduced us to some of his cousins, and we were talking with them when Philip stepped out to talk to his mom to find out where his daughter was. I told his cousins that this is insane, that his daughter was kidnapped from him and he's acting like it's normal. Acting like it's a normal Tuesday. They let me know that his mom is completely insane, as is Julie, and they gang up on Philip and pull this stuff all the time. We all left LA grateful that we didn't have to live in that heck any longer. I also left completely impressed that my brother has been surrounded by that all his life and still turned out to be a selfless, caring person and an amazing dad dedicated to helping improve this generation of dads. You know what's not unfortunate, Riley?
What's that?
That you can go listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts at. Just search OK Storytime, and we'll be there with a plethora of stories just like this one. We have another relevant update, but before we go into that, what would you do as OP and what would you do as Philip?
OP? Philip, dude, this doesn't look good as your sister. I know we just met, but I don't know. This doesn't look like me, like a good spot. And if I was Philip, being a content creator in LA, there are a lot of fake chicks out there.
Yep.
I would have, growing up, probably found a solid chick.
Go on.
That wasn't all about the money. And even if she was French, that she was cool. But I mean, I come from where OP and the hubby come from. Like, that was me going to LA. I was like, whoa, Thankfully, I'm not around a lot of fake people. Oh my gosh, I would not like this place if that was the case.
As a born and raised LA person, usually the fake people, I'm not gonna lie, are the people that aren't from here.
Really?
Like the transplants. Usually it's like that's more common. We are still in contact, although I'm not sure I ever want to go to LA again and let my child witness all that crazy now that he's more aware of what's going on. I am so happy Philip came forward and introduced himself to me. We joke that there's probably a dozen more of us scattered throughout the world. My dad was in the Navy. We've asked my parents if there's more, and while they assure us there isn't, I don't believe them. And that's the end of that story.
Dang.
I think the main point here is to tell Philip to be happy because he's done such great things in this foundation and that he's built that he does not deserve an unhappy life or a stressful life that he already has or it seems like he has. I would, again, what I said earlier, invite him out to stay with you guys for a little bit and bring his daughter, experience that side of his family, and get out of LA.
Yeah.
As an LA native, it's always nice to get out of LA for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
My jealous sister tried to ruin my marriage. When that failed, she took me out of the will. Wow.
Dude.
No wedding, no will.
Dude.
I have a mother who is very sick and an older sister who is extremely toxic and full of envy. She is 1 year older than me, and when we were growing up, she was the prettiest of the three of us. But I developed into a womanhood a little earlier, so during those early teenage years, boys that she liked would come after me. Anywho, I never asked for that attention, and I would tell her. By the way, this comes from Majestica25 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. It got to a point when she was pushing me out of her social circle, which was impossible, and also started talking smack about me. I felt extremely betrayed because prior to this, we used to be besties and would share everything, and it seemed like puberty turned her into a totally different person. Now she is a fully grown, beautiful woman, a slimmer and prettier version of me, and we are now grown-up adults, but I'm getting this strange vibe that she has still not forgiven me. A few examples are as follows. A. My husband is a Muslim. When I introduced him to the family, she said, "He will cover you up and abuse you. You just wait and see." Oh.
What?
Oh.
So she's also racist?
Oh, no.
Oh, my
no.
gosh.
Oh, no. First, I felt offended because she knew that I was happy, so if you do not have anything positive to say, why speak in the first place? But I told myself that she is being protective, so I told her he is not like that. B, my husband got her gifts for the house. These were very well intentioned because she is part of my family and he wanted to treat her as such. She told me, "Your husband pampers me so much. Look at what he got me. He always makes me laugh."
So we're gonna like be that way, but then also flirty?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Maybe it's just a long plot to get with the husband. Dude. Firstly, I knew what he got her because it was his way of respecting my family. Secondly, he never joked with her but would give her exaggerated respect. But I felt like it was said to imply that he is hitting on her. I told my husband to not be too friendly with her, and he did not understand why. I did not want to tell him that while we were our siblings and our relationship may look normal, she has in the past seen me as a competition. C, a few weeks ago, I wore a new dress for a holiday dinner with the family. He told me that I looked beautiful. After that, he came up to me and said, "You are my white woman fantasy." She overheard him say that, and I noticed that she tensed up. After he left, she asked me, "Did he call you his white woman fantasy?" I just laughed. She told me that have some respect for yourself. This man has some sort of sick fetish and he needs therapy. That pissed me off and we had an argument.
So we go right back into the other side. She's just like a clock. She just goes.
Yep. Exactly. She went around telling a whole lot of people that this guy has no respect for his wife and called her his white woman fantasy. Oh my goodness. And
the fact that I've heard that 3 times in the last 30 seconds is insane.
Yeah, this is a lot. She just sharing that with the whole town. Oh my goodness.
Golly.
And how he would call his wife something that is so racist. When the news reached my mom, she called me to ask what was happening and why did your husband insult you like that? My mom is sick and has a hard time speaking. I did not want to stress her out, so I just told her that it is nothing. I am the wife here and only I get to decide what I will find offensive. Good point. No one in the family, and especially not my sister, has the right to take offense on my behalf. Couples have their bedroom language and say things to each other, which, if overheard, can be taken way out of context. I mean, if a man calls his wife, "You are my beautiful bee," just saying, then it is no one else's business. Just like baby talk.
Yep.
No one's business.
Yeah, we keep that in the bedroom, right?
Why? Don't look at
Your
me.
mom is in the chat.
Your mom is literally
Your
in
mom
the chat.
is in the
I'm
chat.
sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Continuing. My mother is not well, and I want the rest of her days to be drama-free. But I am fuming because I am sensing that all these years my sister was fine, but she saw me with my husband and turned into the same insecure little hoo-ha that she was, and she decided to do this at a time which is sensitive to me and my family.
Yeah. What's her prerogative here?
I mean, let
I
us
know
know in the
she's
chat what you
jealous.
guys think.
Is it just because she's jealous?
I probably because like all the guys that she wanted went after the sister, and so maybe she's just like jealous that she's in a happy relationship, even if she like doesn't want the husband. Maybe she's just like, I was supposed to get married first or something like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I
I've heard
don't know.
people say they want themselves married before their younger siblings are,
Yeah, that's a thing.
and
this-
they'll get mad.
Yeah. Part of me says this is not the time to raise such issues, and I should swallow all of this to take care of my mother. Another part of me says this behavior will get from bad to worse because my sister is constantly going up on the ladder of escalation. She has been talking about my husband to some people in my family who have suppressed racist tendencies. Interesting. So she's complaining about racist stuff with people who have racist tendencies. They thrive on toxic stupidity such as this. I'm thinking I should leave everyone and go back because I moved temporarily to my hometown since my husband and I both have remote work. This move is proving a bit too toxic for me. I do not want to abandon my mom as she can barely speak. I honestly do not know what to do. And there is an update, but what?
Man.
What does she do?
2 options.
What are the 2 options?
Fight fire with El Fuego.
Oh boy.
What does that even mean in this context?
Fight fire with fire. You do what she's doing to you somehow. You like outsmart her.
You like go to the. I mean, I don't even know if the sister is like.
You
in
go
a
to
relationship.
everyone she's talked about your husband not respecting you, and you say, "Oh, did you hear that OP like hates dogs and just like invested into a
OP
dog
Dakota?
shelter?" I'm just trying to figure
Yeah.
out what to say here. Just invested into a dog shelter.
Listen.
Didn't you hear that?
Wow. Yeah, just spread rumors. Watch the world burn.
I think so. I think if you want to get back at her, it'll work because she's just spreading a lot of rumors about
Listen.
you. Or
Yeah.
the second thing, you just like be the bigger and better person, I guess, and just ignore it and just
Yeah.
like don't let it take any of your time.
I mean, definitely at least talk to her and just be like, hey, what the heck is going on? You know,
Yeah.
why are you doing this? Like, it's not, the big issue is a joke and it's, you know, something that's private and we don't need to be discussing that with the whole entire family if you don't know what's really going on. Okay? Because that's definitely a big issue, especially with things adding up. Like, you can definitely confront her about that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
This is like not just one thing. Things have been going on. Do you have a problem with my relationship?
Yeah.
And go into that. But there is an update, so let's see if she makes any of those moves. Firstly, many thanks to those who replied to my earlier thread. Your suggestions emboldened me to make a decision. I told my husband that my sister and I are butting heads and he should maintain his distance from her because she is a very hateful and envious person. He asks me why, and I told him that she feels I took potential boyfriends away from her when she is growing up and she has a hate crush on you. He was obviously very surprised, but he said he sensed some tension. Then I went to my mother's room and tried to explain to her all that my sister had been up to. My mom is in that phase where she is coming and going, so I had to wait for her to be alert. Then I told her that there is nothing wrong between me and my husband, and he is very respectful to me. My husband cannot see me happy, so she is creating drama. And as I was explaining this to her, my sister walked in and started yelling at me in front of my mom. Oh my gosh.
Your elderly mother.
Yeah. She does not need that stress right now.
What?
Oh my
Let her be in
goodness.
peace.
Yes. She said that my mom was doing much better before I walked in here with my inappropriate husband, and I am trying to take over her place when she has been here all this time taking care of my mom. I told my mother that whatever inappropriate stuff my husband has said was for my ears, and she keeps tabs on our private conversations because I have a man who loves me and she can't stomach. Boom. Mic drop. Mic drop. Boom. My sister was like, no woman with any self-respect and dignity will ever stay with a man who calls her his white sloot. Note, my husband never called me that. Ever. She was now inventing lies and putting them into his mouth to make him look disrespectful. I told my mom that she sees that I have a good marriage while she can't keep a man, and now she has a hate crush on him. Things got really heated after that because I had figured her out and she didn't like it. I felt so bad that all this drama was happening in front of my mother, who is not even in her senses fully. My husband was coming up the stairs and my sister violently pushed me out of the room towards him and said, "Here, go F your white woman fantasy," and slammed the door and started speaking to my mom.
No, she's just gonna be working your mom down. No.
Crazy. What the heck? So first she's like, worried for her sister being like, I don't know, objectified or something like that, or disrespected. Then she uses the same things to disrespect her sister. I was so furious. I was going to go in and let her have it in front of my mom. Thankfully, my husband was there and he just held me and said, "You have done all you can. We have no business staying here anymore." Wow. After that, we packed up our stuff and left for our home. I was crying on the way because I felt like that was the last time I would see my mom. Secondly, the comments I had received on my earlier post really opened my mind to how twisted my sister is. She can lust for a man and hate him at exactly the same time. The way she threw me out of the room at him and what she said to him sounded like they are both married and I am the mistress in the middle. WTF? Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. It really did look like that. As I'm looking back to all her interactions with my husband, I'm realizing that she always had a lustful hate for him, and I was so blind to not see that. I always thought that she hated him for being a Muslim, and when she gets to know him and get gifts from him, then they would be fine, but now I'm seeing it all for what it is. We were on our way when the snowstorm began, so we stopped at a hotel, and I am still there. My cousin called me and said that your sister has taken you out of the will. I was like, how? He said that she had typed a will, got in there probably with her lawyer, wrote the house and the second property to her name, and had mom sign it. Oh my gosh. So she just rewrote the mom's will. Oh my goodness. That is feels illegal in so many ways.
I think you can investigate this after the mom passed or whatever. Be like, hey, I think you can
she was with a
legally do. She was
yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's insane.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. I was like, Mom is sick, but she is not that sick. My cousin said that after you guys fought, her condition sort of went down. And when she comes back, she is not fully alert. She would not know what she is signing. Oh my gosh. Because of the stupid, the sister yelling in front of the mom, probably making her more stressed.
So in a way, the sister has passed away the mother.
Well, she's not passed away just yet, but
basically put her in a state of being passed away.
Well, yeah, a little more declined, but you know what will never pass is more episodes just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Search OK Storytime. You'll find full episodes, stories, just like this one. There is a little bit more. Should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, go please. Yes.
All right. I do not know if it is true, but from what I've seen of my sister and what she has become, she is capable of doing that. I just want to know what my legal options are. If that signature has been obtained, then what do I need to do? I hate to start a fight over while my mom is still breathing, but I'm extremely stressed out and upset due to all of this. But that's the end of the story.
Icky wicky.
Oh my gosh.
Get her investigated. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. God, that's so twisted.
I want to know how much she got left out of, because in my mind, this was all happening in a 17-bedroom mansion with multiple wings in it. And she's like, "Go be with your white or."
Yeah.
Whatever. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Definitely like a
soap opera.
Soap opera. Absolutely.
My sister's maid of honor humiliated me with her wedding speech. The whole family was disappointed.
Dude, you got whole family disappointment?
And you or the maid of honor?
Maid of dishonor.
I, 27 female, was a bridesmaid at my older sister's wedding last week. The wedding was beautiful and everything seemed perfect until the reception. During the reception, the maid of honor, who has been my sister's best friend since childhood, gave her speech. By the way, this comes from Setting 4917, and if you want to submit your stories, go to OK Storytime subreddit. It was emotional and all, but then she made a joke about how I was the family screw-up who finally managed to do something right by not messing up my bridesmaid duties. Everyone laughed, but I didn't find it funny. For context, I've had a few rough years. I struggled with my mental health and dropped out of college for a while. I've since gotten my life back on track, but it's still a sensitive topic for me. Hearing that joke in front of all of our family and friends wasn't funny at all. My sister's best friend and I never really got along, but still, I never expected something like this from her, especially since the day wasn't about me at all. Then why bring me up in the speech? I tried to stay composed, but I felt the tears coming, so I quietly left the reception and went outside to collect myself. My sister followed me out and asked what was wrong. When I told her, she said it was just a joke and she meant nothing bad. I tried to go back inside, but I just couldn't, and I ended up leaving the wedding early. My parents understand why I was upset, but my sister is angry with me. I do feel terrible for leaving, but I also feel like I had the right to feel hurt and humiliated.
Of course you did.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a mean comment. That wasn't necessary at all. Edit. I said nothing at the moment because I didn't want to cause a scene on my sister's special day. And I can't reason with her right now because she will just ask me if I haven't been taking my meds lately. That's what she does when she's angry with me, so I'm giving her some time to maybe realize how her best friend's joke was out of line. Edit 2, someone asked me if my sister's best friend and I argued before, / did I give her a reason to do this? My sister's best friend and I never went past hi. She told me before a few years ago that she in general doesn't feel comfortable around someone struggling mentally because in her head, God only knows what they're capable of. Since she said this / to this day, I just try to avoid her. There is an update. The same day I posted, my dad called to check up on me and see if my sister and I had talked things out. When I told him no, he said it's better if we talk about it now and assured me that I have nothing to apologize for. If my sister thinks she has nothing to apologize for, then the least she can do is make her best friend apologize or fully realize that the joke was out of line. By the way, my brother and I met 4 days ago, and he told me that brother-in-law, my sister's husband, didn't like the way a maid of honor called me a screw-up in front of everyone, and some of those who laughed voiced later that they did so out of nervousness.
That is true. I've been there. Sometimes you laugh because it's just like, ah.
Could also have been like, oh, maybe they're friends or something. Like there is a point to this joke that everyone's in on instead of, oh, this person's at the butt of the joke. On Monday, my sister called me to talk. When I made it to her place, her best friend was on the phone and didn't put it down for a second. My sister started by saying that just a few years ago, I would have laughed hard and not taken the joke as an insult. I told her maybe some laughed because they didn't know the reason she called me a screw-up. For context, when I was 16, something happened, and that's why I struggled mentally really badly between 16 to 18. When I was 17, I was diagnosed with PTSD and later with depression and anxiety. Since then, I don't like it when someone touches my head, especially my hair and the back of my head / neck. My sister knows everything. During our conversation, my sister did most of the talking. At some point, I felt like my sister had called me just to blame me again without trying to understand my perspective.
I'm sorry, but just the next level of an a-hole you are. Someone like fell off the rails because they got traumatized. And now you're going to be like, oh yeah, look at the screw up. Now she did something right, unlike ever since she got traumatized. Like, go back into your little pit, you orc.
When I tried to talk, she put her hand on the back of my neck and pulled me toward her with each sentence as if to say, do you understand? Or, okay. I hated it and felt irritated. I honestly kept thinking if I pushed her away, would I be in the wrong? Would they just call me mental and tell family I got physical? I tried to leave, but she insisted that no one was leaving until we sort this out. She told her best friend to just apologize. She refused and reminded my sister that I was the reason her husband got angry at her on their wedding day because I couldn't take a joke. And when I tried to explain why, I told her if she had focused her speech on the bride and groom, then maybe he wouldn't have had a reason to be angry. At least Opie's brother-in-law's on her side.
How is she not being like, oh, it's my fault that your husband didn't like her joke? It's your friend's fault. It's not my fault that your husband has a conscience.
She refused to listen and brushed my words off. She said, yeah, whatever. Sorry. I was glad it was finally over, and as I was about to leave, I heard her say, can't take a joke that everyone knows is true.
Then it's not a joke! What are we doing?
Both of them laughed, but my sister stopped mid-laugh and apologized. I didn't say anything and left. And that's when you cut these people off and you say, yep, no, they weren't joking. And whenever anyone asks and they say, what do you mean? No, it's totally a joke. You're like, no, they confirmed it wasn't a joke. Wow, I hate these people. I think I've had enough. I mean, I know I've had a rough few years. I dropped out of college for a while, fine. But I've since gotten my life back on track. My parents helped me through it all and never made me feel like a burden. At first, I was on some strong meds that made me feel tired/sleepy most of the time. After a while, I started to feel a little better with therapy and my family's support. During that period, it was me, my parents, and my brother. My sister was 3 hours away for a job and used to visit sometimes and would often bring her best friend along with her. Looking back, I don't want to say she hates me, but I know she felt ashamed to have a family member struggling with mental health issues. I don't know how to explain this. I've made up my mind and decided to go no contact for now. I think that is a good idea. If my parents and my brother, who were there when I was going through it all, never made me feel that they're ashamed of me, then why would she? I'm still on some meds, but feel so much better than before. I have a stable job, my own place, and friends who love me for who I am. I can say I'm proud of myself a little. I love my family to death and tried to maintain a relationship with my sister all these years, but I'm trying to improve myself, not constantly be reminded of what I was a few years ago. And there is an update, but oh boy, definitely cut these people off.
Get rid of your sister. Your sister does not deserve you.
No! People are going to realize who she is eventually. And then she's going to be like, oh, you took away everyone from me. And you're going to say, nope, that was you.
Yeah, like low-key, this might be the start of her losing her husband from the way that she's reacted to all this.
Her husband was defending you, and she's not, and she's still doubling down on her best friend.
Yeah, if I was him and I saw her treating OP this way, I would have to be like, oh my God, did I just make the biggest mistake of my life in this monster?
Truly. And at the end of the day, even if it was a joke, if it hurts someone's feelings, apologize.
Yeah, when you're making a joke of literally about a specific person, their reaction is the benchmark. Was it good or bad? If their reaction's bad, bad joke.
You say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean like that. Update 2. Hey, this happened a few days ago, but it's been a busy week for me and I was a bit hesitant to update. I went to see my parents with my brother. My dad texted me before too to let me know that my sister was coming too. I didn't want to cause any problems between her and my parents by telling them about what she and her best friend did. But when she started the conversation with lies, I told them everything and made it clear that I'm not asking them to take sides and that I will still come to family gatherings, but I won't engage with her in any way. Perfect.
That's perfect.
It's like, you can still have a relationship with her. I just won't be doing that. My dad couldn't let the facts that she grabbed me by the back of my neck slide. But my mother tried to make it seem like it was out of desperation to make me accept her apology.
No, she knew what she was doing. There's no way she didn't.
I'm sorry, no one just grabs someone's neck. I don't think that's a normal response to anything. And adding in the fact that she knows that OP does not like that. I've never seen anyone do that in real life. What my sister said next did it for my mom. She asked them, how is anyone still supposed to remember what exactly triggers me after all of these years? And that I already got over it since I didn't react. And what if I've been faking it all of these years? I know I shouldn't have said this, and I really regret it now, but I told her I wish she could go through exactly what I went through. Maybe then she could give me a better example of how I should have handled it all. She told me to get over it and stop begging magazines to post about what happened at the wedding and left. My dad told me later that her best friend's younger sister read about it in People magazine. Dang! It was posted on their Instagram. And get over it, she's the only one who still brings up what happened. My mother now understands why I decided to go no contact. My dad and brother are 100% supportive of my decision, but I can't stop thinking about what she said. She tried to trigger a reaction out of me and now thinks I've been faking it because I didn't give her one. It's been 11 years. Years of therapy and meds. Of course, I've gotten better. Not 100% though, since I felt irritated. And if it wasn't for me being already labeled crazy, I would have shoved her away. I feel like I should have cut contact with her the moment she asked my parents why I didn't stay for the party and wait for my brother to come pick me up. The reason I left the party was because some of the guys who were invited were much older than I was, and they were getting wasted and loud. 2 of them followed me. First thing my sister told my parents was, and still believes, that I left with them because I was naive and just scared and ashamed to admit it. Your sister freaking even after both of them confessed everything. But I was young, I guess, and cutting contact with her wasn't something I could do. Oh, your sister is a terrible person.
Yeah, she's the worst. You're so better off.
But you're not better off without us. So come listen to more episodes with stories like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more, but oh my God, never see your sister again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, until she gets like serious help.
Some sense knocked into her.
She has no business having a relationship with you. She doesn't deserve one.
There's a little bit more to the story. I also want to mention how supportive my partner has been through all of this. From the day I told him everything, he has been incredibly understanding, even though I never asked him to and he never told me. But I know he still goes through each movie/series before we watch it together to make sure there aren't any scenes that could make me uncomfortable. Very sweet. When I put something on, he finds a way to distract me for a few minutes to check it before we watch. He has never made me feel like a screw-up. He makes me feel like I still deserve to be loved. Thank you to each of you for your kind comments and reaching out in private. And that is the end of that story.
My brother accidentally hired the creepiest wedding officiant. He ruined the ceremony.
Sounds like it came straight from Seinfeld.
This takes place about 2.5 years ago when the officiant of my brother's wedding, who was also the bride's father's best friend, completely ruined the brother's ceremony. By the way, this comes from user Mortgage on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for context, my sister-in-law wanted to have her uncle officiate her wedding, but a few months beforehand, he was diagnosed with lung cancer. This is when the donkey, who is sister-in-law's father's best friend of many years, offered to take her uncle's place and officiate the wedding. By the way, the uncle is doing well and is in remission as of today. Nice. Now, the wedding was being held at a resort in Cancun, which is great for me because the legal drinking age there is 18. I was a bridesmaid, but because I live in Texas and my brother and sister-in-law live in California, I was unable to be a part of any bachelorette activities. This didn't bother me, but it meant that I did not know or was not very familiar with most of the bridal party. Being 3 states away also meant that I had never met Donkey before, but I honestly consider that a blessing. At some point, a couple days before the wedding, I had actually noticed him hanging around sister-in-law's father, but I had no idea who he was. Honestly, there wasn't much to notice about him other than he gave off creepy uncle vibes. I'm imagining like Uncle Jack from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
At the wedding rehearsal, he was absolutely nowhere to be found, or maybe I was just too hungover to notice. Yeah, Cancun will do that to you. Now, I'm not well versed in weddings or wedding etiquette, but I'm pretty sure that the person who's responsible for guiding the flow of the ceremony would want to be at the literal rehearsal for the wedding he's officiating the next day. But I digress. The rehearsal goes off without a hitch and everyone heads to the beachside restaurant where the dinner is being held. There is where I would have my first encounter with him. I'm seated at the end of the table with the rest of the bridal party. The dinner orders have already been taken and everybody is enjoying small talk with their neighbors. In Abby Lee voice, when all of a sudden, I feel a heavy presence on my left side and I look over to see none other than the donkey kneeling next to me. He introduces himself with his name, let's say Rick, but he finishes his statement by saying, with one eye, and then proceeds to shove his finger into his eye, which turned out to be fake and made of glass. Looking around at the bridesmaids and groomsmen that were sitting closest to me, all of them were clearly very uncomfortable looking in any direction other than ours, and I could tell that I would not be receiving any backup whatsoever. Despite the weird introduction, I tell him my name and shake his hand, which was kind of sweaty, and he proceeds to ask me how I know the bride and groom. Low-key, why are we shaming someone for having hyperhidrosis?
You probably had clammy hands, bro.
He was nervous. He'd been planning that bit with the eyeball.
I don't know how old this guy is, but I definitely know OP is under the age of 21.
OP's like, yeah, 18.
Maybe you should check that one eye you got, that Rick.
He asked me how I knew the bride and groom. I inform him that I'm the groom's sister. He then gets this creepy look on his face and looks between my brother, who's on the opposite side of the long table, and I, and says, I see looks run in the family. All right, not cool with that.
That's why he was so sweaty.
He's so sweaty because he's like, look at all these hotties. Gross. That's gross. Mind you, my brother is actually my stepbrother. I gave him a small laugh because the only other alternative would be to hit him right in his stupid glass eye, but I wasn't going to cause a scene at my brother's rehearsal dinner. Also, that's not the only alternative. Your only choices when confronted with an awkward encounter are not like complete ignorance.
Probably like instinct. She's probably saying her instinct was to punch this guy in the eye.
But I wasn't going to cause a scene at my brother's rehearsal dinner. He then continues to say something along the lines of, back in my day, if I had seen you. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, he didn't finish what he was saying as the waitstaff started to swarm around us to deliver our fresh meals. After he was interrupted, he just looks back at me and excuses himself, stating the food is coming out and that he has to go back to his table. I was genuinely at a loss for what to think after the weird interaction I had. It wasn't until the bridesmaid next to me filled me in on who he is exactly. It turns out that he is the officiant, sister-in-law's father's best friend, and the woman sitting next to him at the table is his 7th wife.
Trying to find an 8th.
Hey, he's looking for the 8th. Right now. Some of the other bridesmaids started to speak up about their own experiences with him and how much of a creep he is. Basically, the general consensus is that this man is weird AF. The next morning, which was the day of the wedding, goes smoothly, with only a few minor setbacks and adjustments needing to be made. But otherwise, getting ready was an easygoing process. All in all, the sister-in-law felt beautiful, we felt beautiful, and her parents were able to have a first look in her bridal suite with the photographer. It was a very special moment to be in that room. My brother and sister-in-law wanted to say their vows to each other before the ceremony in a private area of the resort with their videographer. Only the vows and ceremony were recorded like this. On the beach, we all get into our places so that we can start walking down the aisle. Even though the beach is private, there are still people from the resort relaxing on the sand and enjoying their beach day. Luckily, when some people noticed a wedding was starting to take place, they all moved further down the beach so as to not be in the way. There was a light breeze that kept our skin cool from the heat of the sun, and just enough cloud coverage to prevent nasty sunburns. It was the perfect day for a wedding. Yeah, it sounds like it. Now for the crap show.
Oh boy.
When the entrance music plays and we start making our descent down the sandy aisle, it takes me not even half of the aisle length to take full notice of the outfit that Donkey Man is wearing as he stands at the center of the altar. He has on a white button-up that is only half buttoned with bright red slacks and the matching red bow tie with a pair of aviator sunglasses. He looks like he was auditioning for Too Hot to Handle. And that's not the worst of it. His 7th wife, who was sitting in the first row designated for the groom's family, was wearing a matching outfit. Her blouse was bright red and completely sequined, paired with skinny white jeans in what looked like 8-inch wedges. No one was even wearing shoes, and the wedding colors were neutrals. Everyone in our bridal party was wearing white, so they stood out. At least somebody matched his freak, you know what I mean? 7th wife might be the final one for him.
The final boss.
Find you a 7th wife who matches your ridiculous red outfit at the wedding that you officiate.
Well, she agreed to marry him, probably knowing he's been married 6 times before. So, like, who knows what this woman's state of mind is?
Red sequin dress. That's her state of mind. Moving on, it's sister-in-law's turn to walk down with her father. She looked so beautiful, and as she walked down the aisle, the sun was just at the start of golden hour. So it looked like she was bringing the sunshine down with her as she descended the sand. That's a beautiful image. Her father hands her off to my brother, and the ceremony commences. I'm not really sure the best way to describe the words that came out of his mouth, so here's a sequence of events. Oh boy. He starts talking about how long he's known sister-in-law and has watched her grow up. It was a cute start that had everybody smiling. He then starts trying to be funny by pretending to not know who the best man is for a good minute, who has the rings in his pocket. When he finally remembers who the best man is, he takes the rings, and before he goes to hand them off to the couple, he shouts at the top of his lungs like a battle cry, "Who's ready for some football?" with his fist raised in the air. So far, the only thing I've liked has been the eyeball bit.
Yeah, dude, that rubbed me the wrong way.
And it looks like he's not the cool version of the eyeball bit. He's the very not cool version of the eyeball.
You have to have some swag to pull off the eyeball bit.
You do. You have to have a little finesse. You got to have a little tact. He is executing this entirely wrong. No one's ready for football right now, dude. At one point, he started playing the harmonica. Then the grand finale, when Donkey was done making a total fool of himself and told the bride and groom to kiss, his wife ran up to the altar and threw plastic confetti stars all over the sand and in the air. The pieces were small but kind of sharp, and since none of us had shoes, we had to walk very carefully through the sand throughout the remainder of the after-ceremony photos. None of this was approved by the bride or groom, and it was all basically improvised. And you're throwing microplastics into the beach.
We already have it in us, so what's the point?
At some points, while he's speaking, I watched the timer on the audio recorder that's attached to his microphone, and the entire ceremony, from the moment he started speaking to when the bride and groom kissed, lasted between 4 and 5 minutes. The guests were seated for about 15 minutes. I just remember being in complete shock and looking around at the guests to try and gauge the general reaction and see if they felt the same way I did. Everyone in attendance had the exact same expression of, what is happening and how are we supposed to react to this? Her parents were livid and so were mine. When the "you may kiss the bride" moment happened, the maid of honor grabbed Donkey by the arm and pulled him out from behind the newlyweds so that he would not be in the background. Bless her heart for not yanking harder. From there, the rest of the wedding went on without any issues. Unfortunately, the damage had been done, and the maid of honor and I had to console sister-in-law in the bathroom at her reception. She had been holding up like a true trooper, but several drinks later, I think the emotions got to her. My sister-in-law is an absolute saint of a woman, and seeing her like that was heartbreaking. Turns out, Donkey had a greater impact than on just the wedding party and guests. Onlookers from the beach would approach us to ask about what was up with that ceremony. Family members were asking if sister-in-law was okay, to which I asked them not to try and talk with her about it tonight, as she is trying to enjoy what's left of her wedding day. I reassured sister-in-law that nobody would think her wedding was bad and that everyone's thoughts of the ceremony were reflections of that man's actions and not of her. Her father told him to kick rocks after the ceremony, and the next day gave him enough earfuls to last a decade. Even sister-in-law's mother, who is normally a very quiet and polite woman, was yelling the ugliest of profanities at him. Then, when her parents were done, my brother and I's mom had a go at him, and she's a lot less reserved with her words. Unfortunately for him and his wife, they were stuck in the resort with us for another 3 days, and they spent those days trying to avoid anyone that had anything to do with the wedding. That's what happens when you make that many oopsies as an officiant at the wedding. Big old oopsies.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah. But you know what else is crazy?
What's that?
The fact that we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. All you got to do is tap on our profile.
Easy.
And you'll join our live. We might even be live right now, so go check right after this story. We do have a little bit of story left here.
Okay.
Now, is there anything that you would have done differently? Would you have pulled the plug on the officiant earlier?
Honestly, if I was the father of the bride, I would be like, all right, we're going to redo this. I'm going to say, run from the top. You get the heck out of here. And then I would do it myself. I would go to the back, look up, okay, what do I have to say? Great. Because they're already legally married by an officiant, but now we're going to actually do it again. Yeah. And I'd run it back. If I was the father of the groom, I'd talk to him and go to the bride's father and be like, hey, can we redo this? Because I don't know what happened. Like, this is super off.
But let's see how this story finishes. Sister-in-law was not close with the donkey man, but she thought that he would at the very least take her wedding seriously, being that her father is his best friend. But he ruined one of the most special moments of their lives. It felt like he had turned their wedding into his personal comedy club, except none of the jokes were funny. Not to mention the weird, perverted comments he would say to the other bridesmaids, which were much more crude than what he told me. And the fact that he's like 80 with a 7th wife who's just as bad as him. To this day, sister-in-law's family has never spoken another word to him. And that is the final word of that story.
I love that.
yeah, I don't think you ever speak to that guy again. And low key, I'm gonna be like, Dad.
Why are you guys friends?
I mean, he's gonna be like, hey, he's fine. You can't put him in charge, all right? I should have known. Anyway, that is the end of that story.
My daughter is upset with me because I paid for her sister's wedding.
And not hers?
Maybe there's a double standard here. Am I the a-hole for only paying for one of my daughter's weddings and down payment? So I, 50 male, have 3 kids. Sarah, 35 female. Jessica, 25 female. And Ben, 23 male. My wife and I had Sarah when we were both 16. It wasn't easy, but with our parents' support, we could finish college while we raised her. By the way, this comes from Practice Complete 1 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when it was time for her to go to college, we didn't have money to help her. So she took out loans and paid for them herself. We learned from our mistakes and started saving for other siblings, Jessica and Ben, who got around a $100K fund for college and had no debt. Through all of this, Sarah never complained. She finished her education, got a fantastic job, and could repay the loans in just 3 years while staying with us to save as much as possible. She has also helped us a lot with babysitting her younger siblings and has always been selfless and helped out in any way she could, maybe even to a fault. Wow.
That's crazy.
So when she told me 5 years ago she was getting married, I talked to my wife and told her how bad I felt that we never did anything for her and that I wanted to give her the inheritance I got from my grandmother, which was around $50K, to help her pay for the wedding and down payment on the house. Luckily, my wife agreed, and even though she didn't really need it, I know it meant a lot to
Okay,
her.
I was so worried that the title meant like OP was going to pay for the younger daughter and not for this older daughter's wedding, but this makes so much more sense, and I think this is very fair.
So right now,
Yeah.
Sarah has gotten a $50K for wedding and house,
Yeah.
and Jessica and Ben have gotten $100K each for the college.
Yeah. NOP, Sarah had to spend all of her money on college and her
And paid it off and saved a lot. And
Yeah.
the issue is this. Jessica is getting married next
I
year
don't care, Jessica.
and had assumed we would plan a similar gift for her, which she was quite surprised when I told her we never discussed such plans. And even if we wanted to, we didn't have the budget for her. She just told us it wasn't fair that we paid for her sister, but would not do the same for her. I tried to explain the situation, telling her that in the long run, we spent twice as much on her and her brother as we ever did on Sarah. However, she insisted that Sarah was already well off, noting that Sarah and her husband had paid off the house and were doing extremely well financially. I told her that this had nothing to do with how much money her sister had. This was us finally being able to do something for her oldest child, who had to sacrifice so much because we had her at such a young age. She didn't take it well, left angry, and won't speak to us. My wife thinks we should maybe take out a small loan and give her the money because she isn't used to not talking to her kids and is sad she is left out of wedding preparations. She is even afraid of us not getting invited to the wedding, but I have to put my foot down and won't budge because she is not entitled to our money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
No, I think you could have a conversation with her and say, hey, like if you're having money troubles, let's try and we'll help you try and figure out a budget, or we'll help you try and get your own loan. But like we can't give you that money.
Now even Sarah is saying that this is getting out of hand and even offered to pay half
Because
of
she's
the
a
money.
saint.
But personally, I'm at a point where I'd rather burn the $50K than give it to her. Sarah and my wife think that it is not worth destroying our family over, but I think that giving in will only make her more entitled in the long run.
I think so.
Oh
Sarah's
my
got
gosh.
nothing, and Sarah's doing the same thing that she's done her whole life, which is giving up stuff to help her family out.
Being selfless.
Being selfless. And if Jessica can't realize that, then that's her own problem.
I want to see more red flags. I want to see what else in this world has happened.
Yeah.
We have an update. Thank you all for the fantastic comments, blah, 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 blah. After reading the comments, I feel even more convinced that I was in the right. So I sat down with my wife to talk.
Yeah.
Following many of your suggestions, I showed her the post and asked her to read it. She wasn't happy, especially when she saw how many people had read it, but she was also really curious. This has been on her mind a lot lately, and she wanted to know what all of you were thinking. She had a few issues with my comments. She believes that when I said I would rather burn the money It indicates that I need to change my approach to problem solving. While it might be easy for people on the internet to suggest that parents cut off contact with their child, she is not ready to lose her little girl. Additionally, she thinks my statement of doing my duty and wanting to take care of myself comes across as selfish and not something as a parent should say.
I think that if they keep acquiescing to what, Jessica wants, then she's just going to keep demanding more and more.
Yeah.
And then there is going to come a time when she's like, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to cut you off. And she's going to keep using that as an excuse to get you guys to come back and do what she wants.
She believes there is a reasonable compromise. Instead of giving her the full $50K, we can offer for half of the wedding. This way, she can cover most of the expenses from our savings, borrow the rest from Sarah if needed, and pay her back within a year. I told her right away that I am not going to do that. I told her that we could separate our finances and that she could return to full-time work to help Jessica pay for the wedding. However, I made it clear I was done. As selfish as it may seem, I didn't feel obligated to Jessica anymore, and I want to enjoy my life while I still can. She replied, as she always does, that I'm stubborn and that she would need to take that step if it meant keeping the family together. I told her it was fine, but not to come to me complaining about her health when she went back to work full time. A couple of days ago, she came to me and said that she agreed with my proposal. We made a plan to open a joint bank account where we would deposit our monthly expenses. After that, we can use our personal money however we like. We decided on an amount to keep our savings account for emergencies and agreed to split the remaining funds 50-50. I even agreed to cover 60% of the money needed for our joint expenses. This is the first time we will have more than one bank account, so I am a bit nervous about how it will turn out. I also believe she mentioned talking to her boss about working more hours, but I want to avoid getting involved in that discussion. But we have a discussion every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when you join us live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Come along, tap her profile.
Tap it.
The wife believes making her daughter happy is for her to work. And not just her to work a full-time job, but to work overtime to pay for the wedding.
Yeah, and apparently her daughter's totally fine with that, which is so selfish.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that TikTok trend of the guy, the girl was like, hey babe, I can't pay the mortgage for this month. And the guy's like, really? She's like, yeah, I can't. He's like, well, can you work overtime on the weekend?
That's crazy.
Like, I don't want to work I don't want to have to work a job. But it was fake. It was fake.
Yeah. So there's like,
but I was like, oh my
anger,
gosh.
there's rage bait things. Yeah.
Oh, but that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I can't imagine asking my parents to work hard. Like now, not when I, different when I was a child, I didn't know about that. But now, as in a, new adult, I guess, to ask them to work more hours to pay for something in my life. That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Absurd.
Yeah, no, this is ridiculous. I do, however, think that it is a good decision to have a separate account because it is, I mean, it's kind of unfair for, regardless of whether I think it's a good decision or not, OP's wife is allowed to make certain monetary decisions for herself, even if they're bad ones. And so I think that having their separate accounts for them to make whatever decision they want is a good idea because then it won't breed resentment where one party is like, well, I don't want to use that money that way, and the other person's like, I don't want to use that money that way. Now you both have your own accounts. You can do whatever you want with them.
I spoke with Sarah and expressed my concerns about giving Jessica any money, which I believe is a bad idea. However, Sarah insists that she wants to help. She mentioned that while she agrees with my viewpoint, she doesn't want their mom to return to work full time. She clarified that her decision to help was aimed at supporting their mom and not Jessica. I told her that this was her money and she could do as she pleased, but like her mom, I wouldn't involve myself in the situation any further. Right before I wrote this post, I sent an email to Jessica expressing my feelings for her. I clarified where I stood and mentioned that she could decide how involved I would be in her wedding. I don't expect a reply, but now I have to wait and see what happens. We got an edit.
What is Jessica gonna say?
Jessica's definitely going no contact.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, well, I didn't want to see you and you're not invited to my wedding anymore. Too bad. No one cares. Sarah's wedding's gonna be better than yours. So.
Oh yeah. And you're gonna be mad and sad about that.
Yeah.
I realize now that I didn't explain something clearly. My wife wants to pay $25K for the wedding, which she and Sarah have agreed to split. She believes this is a reasonable compromise, but I disagree with her. It's $25K.
Freaking Jessica gets what she wants because she's a little brat.
Jessica's 25. What is Jessica doing? Imagine me complaining to my parents about
Yeah,
this.
like, I want to get married. Can you give me money?
I need my money. That's so unfair. Also, the fiance of Jessica.
Oh my God, yeah.
What
What
are
is he
they thinking?
thinking? Can his family pay, or are they just making her P's family pay?
Yeah, I'd like to understand that situation.
Mm-mm.
And what would he do if he knew about this information?
Yeah.
I would.
Is
wanna
he all in?
inform
Is he a
him.
part of this?
Yeah,
Oh, it's the back of the hand. Thank you. Appreciate it.
that's the end of that story.
My friend's sister tried to sabotage her wedding. Now the sister wants my help planning hers?
Sabotage 2.0 is what I hear.
Please note that all names are fake. Sisterzilla is named Karen in this post. Backstory: years ago, my friend Amy, 25 at the time, asked me for help with her older sister Karen, 28, female at the time. Karen wasn't happy about her little sister getting married before her while she was still single. I wonder why she was single. By the way, this comes from Rottweiler Bridesmaid, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/showcase storytime subreddit. So, Amy comes to me after Karen made an unreasonable demand about the wedding. This happened about 2 to 3 months into the engagement. Amy told me what Karen's demands were and how the argument went. Amy was to get married about a year after Karen got married. Karen is single, and her longest relationship lasted 1 week. So the chances of Karen getting married very soon are very low.
It's like her getting a 7-day trial and then signing up with a different email every time.
Yeah, she's like, no, I don't want this. Thank you. Amy pointed out that she had been with her groom for 10 years. They were ready for the next step. Amy pointed out Karen's relationship history. Amy sarcastically commented on how long she and her groom would have to wait to get married if they agreed to Karen's demand. This led to a loud argument, which their parents got involved in. The parents were on Amy's side regarding this demand. Karen wanted to plan the wedding and invite whoever she wanted. Apparently, during the argument, Karen interpreted the chances of her getting married before Amy as the chances of her ever getting married. Amy told me Karen's exact words: "So since the chances of me getting married are so low, I should use Amy's wedding to have my dream wedding, and my friends will be coming too." Their parents called Karen's demands unreasonable and said that only Amy and her groom could plan the wedding. However, they did say that if there was room, Karen could have her friends there too. Amy reminded them that she and her groom were 100% paying for the wedding and reiterated what the parents had said about who was planning it. Karen wanted to be the maid of honor and wear a white wedding dress.
I know it.
Her reasoning was that she wanted to share the spotlight and feel special for one day.
Again. I'm on a roll on this one.
The parents immediately shot down the idea of her wearing a white wedding dress, but they agreed to her being the maid of honor. Before these demands, Amy had planned for Karen to be a bridesmaid and had already asked her lifelong friend who introduced the couple to each other to be the maid of honor, and she had agreed. However, when Karen made her demands, Amy decided not to have her as a bridesmaid or involved in wedding planning, which I think is smart. Amy told them that she had already had a maid of honor and didn't want Karen anywhere near the planning because Karen would have more chances to ruin the wedding. The parents insisted that Karen would never ruin the wedding and that she should be included in the planning fund, continuing to push for Karen to be the maid of honor. This was when Amy stormed out and came to my flat. Her groom was away with his parents at the time, and her maid of honor lived hours away. She wanted time away from her family to cool down and rant about Karen's demands, and her parents agreeing with some of them. I gave Amy some advice and ideas on how to handle the situation and offered to let her use my flat as a wedding planning HQ and to store wedding related items, wedding dresses, etc.
Okay.
Amy was worried that Karen would ruin the wedding and that their parents would take Karen's side. So I advised her to password protect her vendors, set her phone unlocked to face recognition /passcode, and be ready to catch Karen in the act.
I did not know about the vendor passwords until like last week.
The vendor passwords?
Yeah. You're my cake vendor?
Yeah.
I am like the groom trying to get the cake, and Keon is trying to sabotage my cake.
Oh.
It's my cake, though.
It is your cake.
So you could like potentially call and be like, "Oh, hello, this is Amy calling about my cake. I actually
Exactly.
don't want it anymore."
Exactly. But it has to be like, okay, what's the password?
Yeah, was the password Amy, if that even is your real name?
It's cake. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
I know
You
how
got
to
the
get into Keon's laptop now.
Amy asked how to catch Karen in the act. I gave her some ideas, created a decoy wedding planning book filled with fake information about the wedding, and asked trusted friends to pretend to be the vendors, putting their names in the book. So this is a whole operation.
What?
That's crazy.
How much time do you have for this?
Yeah, you're planning a wedding and also a fake wedding?
I'm working on a side project right now, and the amount of time that is taking compared to this.
Yeah,
So you have an extra 15 hours in your week?
apparently so.
How does that even How does it even work?
and record Karen trying to make changes behind Amy's back. Another idea was to have a decoy wedding dress, a cheap white dress that looked like it could be an expensive bridal gown, and set up a camera. Amy told me what had happened to her prom dress and graduation outfit and how Karen got away with it because there was no proof. It took us about 2 days to create a decoy wedding planner. Amy put the decoy planner in her room. She didn't tell anyone in her parents' house about a wedding planner book being in there, and set up a camera. A day later, trusted friends got calls from Karen. She wanted to cancel the church and reception hall. The trusted friends had Karen's number saved, so when she called, they recorded their conversation straight away. Trusted friends notified us after they had Karen's calls. They were told to block Karen after the calls. Then Amy received a message from Karen. Looks like you have to wait much longer than planned to get married.
Oh my gosh. She's like,
And she thinks that she's won. How foolish you look, Karen.
oh my gosh.
Because your plot was discovered.
Yeah, you can't, I don't know. You can't be doing victory laps when the race isn't done.
Mm-hmm,
You know? This is silly.
I feel like you have to wait until the person's like, oh my God, what happened? It's
Yeah.
my wedding. It's canceled. And then you go, oh, guess you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get married.
Yeah, if you're going to sabotage,
Yeah.
gotta be smart too.
Don't count your eggs, your chickens before they hatch.
There
And
we
don't
go.
count your eggs before prices go up. It's another saying.
Shoo, that's real.
Mhm.
That's real.
We looked back at the camera footage and found Karen going into Amy's room, heading toward the wardrobe, and noticing the decoy planner book. That evening, Amy sent both her parents an email with the camera footage, voicemail recordings, and a screenshot of Karen's message. She added a message stating that this was proof Karen would try to ruin the wedding, that Karen definitely didn't deserve to be maid of honor or a bridesmaid, and that Karen should be uninvited. In the message, it was explained that the planner Karen found was a decoy. Amy stayed at my place knowing she would be told off for recording Karen and not trusting her if she was at her parents' house, rather than them confronting Karen for trying to cancel the wedding behind Amy's back. Amy turned her phone off after sending the email. In the morning, when she turned her phone on, she had a lot of missed calls, voicemails, and texts from Karen and her parents. Her parents' messages were about how they couldn't believe Karen would try to cancel the wedding. They thought she might try to change the wedding to her liking, but never expected this.
They thought, and they still allowed her to be the maid of honor.
They were mad that Amy had a camera in her room and didn't trust Karen. They agreed that Karen shouldn't be maid of honor, but insisted she should still be a bridesmaid. She tried to cancel the wedding.
But she's family.
They're like, oh, it's ridiculous that you would put up a camera to like catch her in the act of doing something
and
wrong.
we thought she would change something or do something wrong, but not this.
This
Not
was
our
too
sweet
far.
Karen.
They also agreed that Karen shouldn't be part of the planning, but should still be involved in shopping for the bride's dress, bridesmaids, dresses, accessories, etc. Karen's messages were filled with anger, mad that she was tricked by the decoy planner, mad that Amy didn't trust her enough with the real planner, mad that she was recorded, and mad that Amy told their parents what she had done. It is so bonkers to me that anyone's like, I can't believe you wouldn't trust her.
Look at her.
She betrayed you.
Look at her actions.
There were also pictures of Amy's room after it had been trashed with a caption, "This is what snitches get." After these messages, Amy was even angrier at her parents for trying to be neutral and compromising on her wedding to keep, in her words, the so-called peace and loving sisterly bond. I don't think they have a loving sisterly bond. I think they hate each other. Amy's anger towards Karen increased. I advised Amy to set up boundaries with her parents and establish reasonable consequences. She should keep them on a low info diet about the wedding, as they would pass it on to Karen, even if told not to, not share real vendor passwords with them, and move out of her parents' house sooner rather than later. Amy took up my offer to live with me until she and her groom finally got a place together. I also suggested distancing herself from Karen, but not completely blocking her in case Karen came up with other ideas to ruin the wedding, and sent another message before acting on it. That way, we could stop it or undo it with plenty of time. Also, Amy should not answer Karen's calls, as she might leave a voicemail revealing her plans. I helped Amy create her boundaries and consequences list. Here's what was on the list. Boundaries. Parents are not to agree with any of Karen's demands involving Amy's wedding. Parents are not to make compromising promises to Karen that involve Amy's wedding. Karen is to be a guest, not part of the bridal party. The fact that she's even a guest is crazy. Karen is not to be involved in planning or shopping for the wedding. Parents are not to give Karen any information about the wedding, including planning appointments and vendor details. Consequences: if Karen tries to cancel or ruin the real wedding, she is automatically uninvited from the wedding.
Okay, wait a minute. We should go for more here.
What?
Come on. Uninvited from the wedding? No.
No.
How much money would the parents give to Karen for her wedding. We should take some of that.
That's true. Yeah. You say you owe me money. If Karen even causes one little thing, you have to send me $200,000.
You messed up the venue. Venue cost $90,000.
Yeah. Just charge 'em.
The cake is messed up. Oh, that's $5,000, girl.
Mm-hmm. Just keep charging her. If the parents cross a boundary, there will be a 3-strike consequence system. Strike 1, Dad will no longer walk Amy down the aisle. Strike 2, parents don't get to play their roles in the reception, sit at the head table, make speeches, and participate in the father-daughter dance. Strike 3, parents are uninvited from the wedding. I advised Amy to wait for the groom to return from his trip before giving her family the lists. He should have a say in anything involving the wedding, and there might be some boundaries or additional consequences he wants to include. A day after the groom returned, Amy told him everything that had happened with her family. He was mad that Karen tried to cancel the fake wedding and glad we found out sooner that Karen would do anything to get her way. He was also upset that Amy's parents made compromising promises about their wedding when they weren't paying for anything. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a real kicker, because I feel like in a lot of these wedding stories, it's always the parents are like, well, you have to agree to our demands because we're paying for it. But Amy and her partner are paying for everything, so.
Dude, then just uninvite the sister.
Yeah.
Then the parents have zero thing to say you should be the maid of honor.
They got nothing to hold over you.
I understand some of these weddings where the parents are like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You're footing the bill. Okay, great.
Yeah, you're fine.
But this makes no freaking sense.
The groom reviewed the list and added to both. He mentioned that when Amy's parents asked for their friends to be invited, he was already annoyed that they hadn't offered any money toward the wedding to support the requests. Due to their behavior, both in response to Karen's demands and since his return, he decided that as a consequence, Amy's parents' friends would no longer be invited to show that they were serious. When Amy and the groom were ready with their lists, they contacted Amy's family to set up a meeting. They agreed to meet at a cafe. When I was told about how the meeting went. Amy's parents tried to downplay the situation and twist some details when explaining to the groom what had happened, thinking he had no idea what was really going on. Apparently, her parents said things like, "It's a silly misunderstanding. Amy's overreacting over nothing. Karen didn't start this, and Karen didn't do anything that Amy claims she did." The groom shut them down immediately, telling them he had listened to all the voice recordings, seen all their messages, and viewed Karen's picture message of Amy's trash room. Amy's parents went pale and fell silent. Karen turned red, fighting the urge to scream. She values her public image and only has banshee-like tantrums in private in front of her family. Amy expressed her feelings about her parents' actions regarding Karen's behavior. Then she introduced the lists. First the boundaries, and then the consequences. Nice. Her parents and Karen tried to challenge each boundary, but Amy reminded them of what they had done to warrant its inclusion. They were then informed that Amy's parents' friends were no longer invited as a consequence of their recent behavior. After the meeting, Amy received multiple messages from Karen. She was furious that Amy had told the groom what had been going on. Couldn't believe Amy didn't trust her. Was upset that the boundaries and consequences lists had been created. Thought both lists were unreasonable and was especially angry about being demoted from maid of honor to bridesmaid. I replied on Amy's behalf using her phone with, "Your actions are the reason I lost trust in you. You were never maid of honor to begin with. You are a guest, not a bridesmaid."
Dang,
Put her in her place.
Put her in her place.
During the 3 years of engagement and wedding planning, these are some of the things Karen has done. Tried to crash the first venue tour with both parents' help. Tried to crash wedding dress shopping with mom's help. Posted on social media a bad picture of Amy in a wedding dress. However, the dress in the picture was just one of hundreds Amy tried on in shop 1 of 20 before finally finding the perfect dress. Karen took the picture at the shop while being blocked from entering the fitting room and getting punted out of the store along with mom. Wait, so she came in like a paparazzi and she's like, "Ah!" And then everyone was like, "Get out!"
Sounds like it. I want more context on that one.
Tried to cancel both venues for the wedding. Karen had an invite to the wedding before getting uninvited, which is how she knew where the ceremony and reception were being held. Amy later received a voicemail from Karen screaming, "How dare you have passwords on your bookings? Don't you trust me?" No!
How do you know there are passwords on the bookings?
Dude,
insane.
no one trusts you.
There's a code word.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Shortly after, Amy got calls from vendors informing her that Karen had tried to cancel the bookings, destroyed a wedding dress that she thought was Amy's, tried to cancel the cake and catering. Not long after, Amy, the groom, and both sets of parents attended tastings for the cake and catering. Both vendors were informed about Karen and set up passwords for the booking. Amy then received another call from Karen, once again screaming about the passwords and trust. Soon after, she received calls from vendors informing her that Karen had attempted to cancel the bookings. It didn't take long to find out that Dad had told Karen the name of both vendors.
Not the dad. Not the
Dude,
dad doing this.
Come on.
Ooh.
Got arrested for breaking into a flat that she thought belonged to Amy and the groom.
This is insane.
And the parents are just like, that's just Karen.
That's so
She's just
sweet,
loving.
Karen.
That's just Karen.
That's how she
You know
acts.
how she is.
Okay. That's crazy.
This happened the day before the wedding, which took place over the weekend. Since Karen was in police custody during the wedding, there was no worries about her causing trouble on the big day. Only the parents had to be dealt with. There are other things Karen has done and more details about what's mentioned in this post, but including them would make this already long post even longer.
So she didn't get to even go to the wedding because she was in jail?
I guess so.
What?
Insane.
I've never heard that one.
Now
I guarantee you the parents were like, she's fine.
she's just doing some, I don't know, community service in jail. She's helping out.
Excuse me, wedding venue. Can we have our deposit back? We have to bail our
Our daughter
child
out.
out of prison.
Now to Karen asking me for help with her wedding. A few days ago, my coworker approached me asking if I could help her brother and future sister-in-law, who were having issues with the sister-in-law's parents. My coworker knows I help brides with wedding planning issues. She told her brother and sister-in-law about me to see if they wanted extra help before reaching out. My coworker only gave me sister-in-law's first name, a very common name, and mentioned that her parents were making unreasonable demands. I agreed to meet with her brother, future sister-in-law, and my coworker. Last night, we met up. The second sister-in-law and I saw each other. I realized who she was, and Karen, now 36, 37, turned pale. So it's been about 10 years. My coworker's brother then starts explaining his fiance's parents' demands. Some of their demands included the mother gets to wear a white wedding dress. Parents plan the entire wedding and invite their friends despite not contributing any money. The mother is to be the maid of honor. The father is to be the best man. And when the groom finished listing all the parents' demands, I turned to Karen and said, so your parents are giving you the same treatment you gave your little sister during her wedding planning? Karen ran away screaming.
Oh my gosh.
She ran away screaming?
That is.
She just
Oh,
ran
that's
away
beautiful.
screaming?
That's beautiful.
Dude, that's great. But what? She just,
Like
she
this.
just ran. She's like, "Ah, no!" What?
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah, she is confronted with the ghost of her past
Yeah.
and does not know how to defeat it.
Shocking. Yeah, that is. I want to know if the parents were doing this like they just are insane, or if they were doing it to show Karen her wrongs or something. You
I
know?
would phone call Amy and be like, "Are your parents crazy?" Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably the parents.
Yeah,
Because they let Karen do all this stuff and still insisted
That's true.
it should be bridesmaid.
that's true. After a moment of confusion and shock, her brother went after her. My coworker was confused about the situation. When her brother returned after Karen had driven away, he asked me why I said that about what little sister I was referring to. I explained everything to him and my coworker. He didn't completely believe me until I video called Amy. Amy confirmed everything and sent him proof, including messages from when Karen tried to cancel the fake wedding and other incidents. Her brother thanked us for telling him the truth and said he had a lot to think about. My coworker also thanked me. At that moment, I don't know what's going to happen next. And there is an update.
Oh my god, did OP just help this person
Yeah.
dodge a bullet? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Also, kind of bummer for Karen. She waited so long for this.
Oh yeah.
And like because of like some twist of fate, OP's right there to block her. She was about to have her wedding moment that she's been
Dang.
dreaming about for like
She-
20 years.
I think she's around 40 at this point.
She's like 38. they said.
38, yeah. She probably wants babies soon.
She's about to have this
Oh,
moment.
this is kind of sad.
It's kind of sad.
But also, it's Karen.
Update! Sorry for the delay in updating. I was recently updated by my coworker, let's call her Jill, for the remainder of this post, on what happened with her brother after learning about Karen's past. Their engagement/relationship is over.
Oh,
Dang.
what?
Dang.
What?
That's what happens, man. That's what happens.
Oh.
According to Jill, her brother talked to his parents about everything Amy and I had told him and showed them proof. His parents supported ending the engagement/relationship. When he finally got to talk with Karen, since he wanted to break up face to face, Karen's parents got in contact with him. They wanted him to pay for the cancellation of their engagement, but the second he said, I know about Amy and everything that happened, the parents hung up. He hasn't heard anything from them since. So the brother is free from that madness, but I'm feeling guilty. When I met Karen at the meeting from a distance, she looked like a completely different person. But when I got close enough to see her face clearly, I knew it was her. She had lost a lot of weight, her real hair color was showing, and she wasn't wearing makeup. From what I recall, Amy telling me, Karen never leaves her bedroom without makeup on. Her behavior had also changed. I was shocked when she ran away screaming at our meeting. It seemed like she had lost her confidence after going through hell. When Jill and I were catching up, we'd both been busy with work on different business trips and projects. Jill mentioned one part of Karen's past that she doesn't believe. When Jill met Karen, Karen claimed she doesn't use social media. So when I mentioned the part about posting on social media a bad picture of Amy in a wedding dress, Jill thought I was lying. Before Amy's wedding planning madness, Karen used to post on all her social media platforms every minute about every little thing in her life, including using the bathroom. So I went online and found Karen's Facebook account. The last post on there was from years ago, about a year after she broke into the wrong flat. It was a video of her ranting about how things were going with the court case. From the video, which I'm guessing might have been made/posted a day before the trial, I found out Karen was arrested a few times before this arrest. She said the judge most likely sent her to prison. The owners of the flat were also getting married, and Karen destroyed all their wedding stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I know she trashed the flat part before seeing this video, but didn't know what items she trashed. Owners had cameras inside their flat. I did find other videos of her ranting about how her plans to stop Amy's wedding failed, about her parents are blaming her for Amy embarrassing them at her wedding by preventing them from entering and cutting contact. Parents telling her she has to pay them back for bail, parents treating her differently, the flat owners suing her for wedding fees, property damage, and emotional distress, her losing friends and followers on social media, also her real life friends too. And you would never lose us if you just listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left.
I don't know if I feel bad for Karen.
I don't know.
She seemed
Yeah.
to have gone through life and become a better person.
Well, we don't know. We just know that she went through a lot.
But you could tell. You could tell
Yeah.
from the first impression after 10
Sure.
years later, her appearance has changed.
Yeah.
She feels more confident in her skin, thus no makeup.
True.
And she looks healthier.
True.
I think she turned her life around. And now her
I think it's a big
parents are
possibility.
just kind of crazy. And it seems like she's trying to escape this.
It does. I mean, she went through, she went to jail a couple times. I think there's a possibility that she did change,
Yeah.
but we'll never know.
Wait,
Well, we might know.
Keelan,
There's
can
a
you
little bit
please look for an update?
more. Well, there's a little bit more.
There's a little more.
Okay.
But I'll check.
After the video rant about losing friends, I looked for Facebook friends list. She only has 2 friends that are her parents. I looked at their accounts and found their posts of them continuing Karen's punishment after she served her time in prison. In their posts, they're mistreating Karen. The parents have put on their posts about how upset they are for never meeting their grandchildren because of what Karen did during Amy's wedding planning. These parents are ridiculous. They were just at fault. Also, how much money Karen owes them for bail, lawsuit, and other legal fees. I took screenshots of the parents mistreating Karen posts and sent them to social services. Hopefully Karen will get help that she needs. But I feel guilty for airing out her past when she is going through this. I feel bad for Karen now.
Jimmy Lulu did say, but she could have been honest with her partner.
For
Because if
sure.
she was honest with her partner, he would have known about this and it would have been a shock.
It's-
Seems like she's trying to put
Yeah,
a rug over a big, huge dirt pile.
I think so. And it's less so that I feel bad that she, the partner or the fiance is getting out of this situation. It's more so I just feel bad for Karen. It seems like everything is really getting worse and worse.
Because people
The
people
partner
deserve
doesn't
second
deserve that.
chances.
Yeah. And maybe the partner doesn't deserve to be with her.
I don't
you
know. It seems like she got a lot of chances. Come on, guys.
But I mean, 10 years later, I don't know. I
sometimes
just feel
when
like
you hit-
something changed.
You're an
sometimes when you
adult.
hit rock bottom, you deserve a second chance.
Yeah, I think
You have to hit rock bottom, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. She went to jail multiple times and is out, and now her parents are kind of abusing her a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem great.
There was no update, but there was a comment, a small tidbit comment from OP.
What'd you say?
Let's see. It's right here. Yeah, this is from OP. Yeah, I from a comment saying, I just flat out do not understand how dare younger sister get married before I do thing. It seems to be pretty common. I hope Amy is very happy now and Karen gets dumped. And replying as OP, yeah, I guess it's some more weird old-fashioned tradition thing that somehow affects the DNA of the first-born daughter of the families, LOL. Amy and Groom are much happier, definitely after cutting out with Karen and Amy's parents. The couple just had their second child last year. So, nothing, it looks like no update on her, but looks like everyone else is doing all right.
I caught my sister stealing my expensive watch, but apparently it's my fault.
Of course it is. Of course it's your fault that
Shouldn't have had it in the
she
first
stole-
place.
Yeah.
So last night I had some people over to celebrate moving to my new place. I had some family and friends, including my sister and mother. By the way, this comes from Rolex Entrepreneur, and if you want to submit your own stories, check us out at r/showcase Storytime subreddit. So when I was growing up with my sister, she would often steal things from myself and other family members. Money from my mom's purse or dad's wallet. She'd sneak into my room and take things, steal money from our grandparents, etc. We aren't very close because of this, and I always try to keep an eye on her when she's around. Despite this, I decided to invite my sister over because she doesn't live far away, and I know my mom would have been upset if I didn't. I put all of my watches and valuables in my safe, but I left out the watch I had planned on wearing that night, but ended up not wearing it and leaving it on my dresser. At one point during the night, my sister asked me where the bathroom was, and I pointed down the hallway and told her it was the bathroom on the left. A couple of minutes later, I went to grab something from my room and saw her come out of my room as I was walking down the hall. She gave me this startled deer in the headlights look and said she was looking for the bathroom and walked really quickly. I immediately got worried and went to do a quick look in my room. I immediately noticed something was missing. My watch from the top of my dresser. This isn't some cheap $20 watch. I paid over $30K for it earlier this year.
Wow.
$30K.
$30K. Oh my goodness.
I left my room and went straight to my sister to confront her. I pulled her off to the side so it would not cause a scene and told her that I knew she took my watch, and if she gave it back right then, I wouldn't call the cops. She got extremely defensive and started yelling at me how she didn't take crap from me and how I'm an a-hole, etc. Well, at this point, a lot of people were staring and listening to us. She told me she was leaving and started heading towards the door. I knew if she left, I might never see my watch again. So I grabbed her purse from her and dumped everything out on the ground.
Whew.
Sure enough, there it is. My watch right there on the ground with the rest of the stuff from her purse. My sister screamed at me and called me a effing a-hole and scooped up most of her stuff and ran out of the place. My mom followed her out and ended up not returning to the party. So after an awkward rest of the party, I got a call from my mom. She was mad at me.
What?
I got some long lecture about how I didn't need to humiliate my sister in front of everyone. How she couldn't help herself, that my sister is crying and upset now because of the scene I caused. She also got mad at me for going through my sister's purse and told me that I should never look in a lady's purse. That was a complete invasion of privacy.
It's your sister's purse. It's not like some random lady.
It's your sister's. And also, she was like, hey, you pulled her to the side and was like, hey, she was the one that started it.
Absolutely. She started yelling and getting
Nice.
defensive. And also, she stole the watch.
Yeah.
Like, what should you? Is the mom not telling the sister, like, hey, don't do that?
Well, no, because she would have told her at a young age not to do that, but she continued to do that.
She's just saying she can't help herself. She literally said she can't help herself.
For all I know, the mom's probably getting a piece of this action.
She taught her all the tricks.
Probably. First of all, I tried to pull my sister off to the side. She was the one who started yelling at me and causing the scene that made everyone look at her. I also wouldn't have had to go through her purse if she didn't steal from me and deny it and try to leave. I'm not going to risk losing a $30K watch because I shouldn't look through a lady's purse. So now my mom wants me to not only apologize to my sister, but to tell all the guests that were there that it was a big misunderstanding and my sister didn't take anything. I'm really not sure what I should do about my mom. There is no way I'm going to apologize to my sister. She should be the one apologizing to me. And I'm certainly not going to lie to my guests to get my sister out of an awkward mess she created for herself. I also don't know what to do about my sister. At this point, I think I'm pretty much done with her. I think she should be the one apologizing, but I doubt she will ever do that. Thanks for advance. We got an update. Should he just
Wow.
call the cops?
Call the cops?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she hasn't stolen anything again, right?
I don't know. I mean, just be like, hey, she stole this from me.
Well, she got it back though, I think. I think she got
Yeah.
is it a he or
I think it's
she?
he.
Well, OP got it back, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it's he or she.
Okay.
No gender named.
Well, either way, I don't know if I would call the cops because OP got the watch back, right? So I don't know if calling the cops, but I mean, definitely be like, Mom, what the heck? Like, are you not going to say anything about her actually stealing it? Like, I'm not going to lie to all my guests because she's like got a stealing problem.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know, man.
That's crazy.
Update. I invited my mom to lunch so that we could discuss what happened at the party and where to go from there. I explained to her that my sister stole a very expensive watch from me. It wasn't just some trinket, and it shouldn't matter even if it was. I tried to pull her away and confront her in private, but she chose to yell and curse at me and cause a scene. I also told her that I understand that it's never okay to go through someone's private purse or bag, but that sort of etiquette goes out the window when tens of thousands of dollars of my stolen property is in her purse.
Yeah.
My mom then went along on a long rant about how we are all family and that how her and my sister believe what a family should do is share in each other's success.
So the mom is totally going to get a piece of the action.
She told me that my sister was just upset because I was hoarding all my money for myself and that it's understandable what she did.
Oh my gosh.
She said that I would never have gotten where I am today without all the work she put into raising me and the influence her and my sister had on my life. Then she went on to tell me that I owe it to her to evenly share my success with her and my sister since we are family, and then they would certainly do the same in my position. That's a laugh.
Oh my gosh. We were right. The mom is
Dude.
totally teaching her the tricks, probably encouraging her to steal this watch.
That's
just because
wild.
they're like, oh, you bought a $30,000 watch, which is a lot of money to spend on a watch. But like, you're just going to steal it to like take the money. You're going to steal the money that you think that OP owes because they're your child? What?
Insane.
That's insane.
Insane. At this point, I'm pretty dumbfounded. Not only because she thinks my sister's actions were somehow justified, but because she credits herself for my success and thinks it's selfish of me not to share it with her and my sister. And don't even get me started on her trying to act like her and my sister would do the same. I know for a fact my sister wouldn't give me a dime if I were 10 cents short for a heart transplant.
Oh.
My mom still owes me tens of thousands of dollars that she borrowed and swore she would pay back. I didn't even expect it and wrote it off as soon as I gave it to her. I just can't even fathom how my mom could actually think like that. At that point, I was furious and didn't want to say anything I'd regret, so I got up and walked out. Oh yeah, I also got a text half an hour later saying I owed her money for lunch since I was the one who invited her, despite the fact that neither of us had even ordered before I left.
Oh my gosh.
As far as my sister goes, I haven't contacted her and she hasn't contacted me. At this point, I'm just done with her in my life. I don't know if I should do the same for my mother though. I would hate not to have a relationship with her, but I just can't believe how she could possibly think those things. Would love some advice on what to do as far as my relationship with my mother goes. Thanks. We got an update too.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
I think it's 2 for 1, man.
Dude.
Gotta let her go.
Yeah, Klypto's running the family, man. That's crazy.
Oh, dude, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you think that way, I'm just glad you got out of that cycle. But no, just be like, Mom, I can't do this. You should apologize to me.
Yeah, like this is my money. Like I'm sorry she can't do her own success. Like if you were so able to help me be successful, why isn't she successful?
Ooh, there we go.
You know? And same with the sister. If the sister is supposedly helping me being successful, why does she have to steal from me to, I don't know, pay for whatever she wants to?
Update 2. She called me, but I didn't want to talk, so I let it go to voicemail. She left a voicemail telling me to check my email. Here is her email. First of all, it was very rude of you to walk out on me at the cafe. I was humiliated, and you should know better than to treat your mother like that. As I said in the text, you owe me money for lunch since you were the one who invited me, so please bring $60 to give to me at Craig's barbecue.
$60?
It was a shame that I even need to be telling you this. I know I raised you better than that, but you really need to start supporting this family. We're all one, and the success of any individual needs to be spread around the family. Your sister works as a pastry chef and is always more happy to bake for everyone and bring us treats from work. I wish you would do the same.
Oh my gosh.
You can start by helping me with the new apartment I'm moving into. Rent is $4,250 per month, not including utilities. I'm planning on moving in the 1st of September. That gives you plenty of time to set up some sort of monthly bank transfer. I'm going to need $8,500 in about 2 weeks for the first and last month's rent. I'll also need you to come over a few times this month to help me move my stuff over there.
What?
Bring the bigger truck unless that's the manual, because Todd doesn't know how to drive stick. As thanks for moving my things over, I will cover the security deposit myself, so you don't need to worry about it. And you still haven't apologized to your sister, so please get that done this week. It'll take 5 minutes tops. Just get it done. It was wrong to humiliate her like that, and guess you should be the one confronting her, like me, like usual. Text me to confirm you got everything, and let me know as soon as you can bring the big truck over. I should also mention that I currently pay for her rent.
Why are you not paying for your own rent? It's not even asking OP if they could help with rent. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna need this much. Like, it's just treating them like a bank. Low contact or no contact?
Dude, no contact.
No contact.
No contact.
Yeah.
And Todd can help out with the rent. I'm done.
Dang. Yeah.
I should mention that I currently pay for her rent after some long guilt trip about how she gave me free food and housing for 18 years. So it's time for me to repay the favor.
Oh my gosh.
I can clearly see now that this was a big mistake. Now she just assumes I'm going to pay for her rent at some new huge place that costs twice as much and that she doesn't need. At this point, I'm done giving her any support. She clearly has no appreciation for it. This is just a taste of how my mom acts. She's extremely entitled and just expects everything in life to be given to her. Another update. So I just sent my mom an email letting her know that I will no longer be giving her any more money. Here's the gist of it. And if you want more stories just like this, go to OK Storytime on your favorite podcast platform. Search it up. We got plenty of stories just like this. Holy cow, he's cutting her off.
Good. Absolutely the right choice. Because I wonder, like, the type of person that would do this is, like, someone that would grow up, like, really rich. But if they're really rich, then, like, why do they need money from their children now? You know what I mean?
Weird.
Right?
Very weird.
Also, like, you're the parent. You're supposed to provide for them for those 18 years. It's not.
You brought this kid to life, so, like.
Yeah.
Here is how the email was wrote. I will not be paying for the rent for the new, more expensive apartment you want to move into. Not only will I not be paying for that, but I will not be paying for your rent or any apartment anymore. You will have to do so yourself. In addition to that, I will not be giving you any more money whatsoever. You have shown that you have no respect for me or the work it takes to earn money, and I cannot continue to pay for things you don't need. I know this means cutting back a bit, but there is no reason for you to be living outside your means, and I will not subsidize your expensive lifestyle. I wrote that all out completely different, but that's the gist of what I told her. So just waiting for the freak out, I'm sure, is going to happen.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the end of that story. No more other updates.
Wow.
And yeah.
My sister tried to take away my brother's best friend, so we exposed her cruelty.
Expose her.
Expose her. I will preface this by saying that this story is long, and I was not the mastermind to all the revenge that follows. But I did play a crucial role and feel as though I need to explain my reasons for doing so. I'm not going to empathize with you, and I will not agree with you. I grew up in a single-parent family. My mom, me, and my older sister, who for the story's sakes, I will call Lilith. Lilith is 4 years older than me, so the main reason I believe she was the way she was because she grew up an only child with both her parents spoiling her and giving her everything she wanted. Then I came along, and she wasn't the baby anymore. Then when I was 2, my parents divorced, my dad moved away, and me mom was left alone with us. By the way, this comes from u-deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to ROK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister was, and is still, a grade A witch. When I was growing up, she used to bully me relentlessly.
Oh.
She would call me names, break my stuff, blame my parents' divorce on me,
Oh my God.
and even physically abuse me. until I got old enough to hit back.
Yikes.
At school, she used to get all her friends to bully me as well. And because a bunch of older kids were always cornering me, calling me fat and ugly, I never had any friends. No one wanted to be anywhere near me because of her, and she always made a point of letting me know just how much better than me she was. When I was younger, I believed she was better. She was prettier, wore better clothes, had a ton of friends, and was into girly stuff like makeup and fashion, while I was still in my teddy bear Barbie stage. You could just tell me that this is all stupid kid stuff, but it only got worse as we got older. By the time she was 16, I was just turning 12, and the bullying had never ceased. Because of the type of person I was, I thought if I did everything she said, she might actually like me. But this only encouraged her to take advantage of me. Things like cleaning her side of her room, getting her drinks, making her food, doing any housework mom asked her to do, and even giving her my pocket money were completely normal. But despite doing everything she said, she was always nasty, and not just to me. One of the worst memories I have of my sister is her screaming at my mom because she couldn't get the prom dress she wanted. I watched my mom try to explain that she didn't have the money to afford the dress she asked for and that she'd have to get a cheaper one. Lilith blew up on my mom, telling her they would have the money if dad was still here. Ooh, low blow. And it was all her fault that he left. And she shouldn't suffer because mom was too lazy to get a real job. This really struck a chord with me because even when I was younger, I always noticed how tired my mom always was. She worked 2 jobs just to get us by, and for Lilith to act that way and say things like that really got to me. She made my mom cry like that night, and I've never forgiven her for it. Sometime later, and my mom was dating this guy. We should call him Matt. Matt was and still is great. He was really nice to all of us, bought us presents, made a point to get to know us, even took both me and Lilith on separate days out, so we could both spend time alone with him, which always made me feel special. I was 13 when they got married, and we moved in with him. Matt made quite a lot of money, so both Lilith and I now had separate bedrooms, and I could not have been happier. Enter Matt's son, our mastermind. We shall refer to him as Megamind. I had met Megamind a few times before my mom got married to his dad, but never really got to know him. He was older than me, but younger than Lilith, so when we moved into his house, I was terrified that Mega would be like Lilith. However, I was completely wrong. Mega was, and still is, the best brother. He never made me feel like I was unwanted. He let me play on his consoles, got me into reading, helped me with my homework, even encouraged me to make friends, knowing how my sister's treatment of me affected my trust in people. He literally did like all the opposite behaviors of her sister.
She was
OP
like,
so
wow.
deserves this.
She's like, wow, I have a sibling who loves me.
Yeah, this is so
I
sweet.
didn't know this was possible.
This is sweet. Mega was the sibling I always wanted and never got to have, and Lilith just kind of faded into the background for a while. Then some years later, Mega brought a friend home from university. His name shall be Nick. Nick and Mega were best friends. They did practically everything together and had the truest bromance of any 2 men I've ever met. One day, Mega was down bad, and his best friend went over and kissed him on the forehead seductively.
Are you just writing fan fiction now?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you here for it?
Yeah, I was into it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should I keep going?
You should keep going with the story. I think.
Okay. But there was evil lurking.
No!
Evil that wished to break the bromance forever. The first time Lilith saw Nick, I swear, there were stars in her eyes.
I knew it.
And she
Hot
had to
Nick.
capture this innocent soul into her trap by any means necessary. And poor hot Nick.
No! Don't take him!
Poor hot Nick. Despite both me and Mega telling him repeatedly what kind of person she was, Lilith entranced this innocent hot boy with her looks.
She was too hot!
And her charms, and they soon started dating. Soon, whenever Nick would come over to the house to hang out with Mega, Lilith would show up and drag him away, making it all about her. She started arguments with Mega about spending too much time with her boyfriend and that he needed to stop and leave them alone, to which Mega always laughed in her face and told her not too kindly to F off.
Nice, Mega. Nice.
Mega wasn't like me. He didn't take any of her crap, and I deeply respected him for that. However, this evil demon was not used to being disrespected, and so she hatched a wicked plan.
If your friend told you like, hey, like you met this really hot person, you met like a really hot girl.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
hypothetical.
listening.
You met like who? You met like a really hot girl,
Yeah, wow.
and she was like great, flirting. It was going really well.
Yeah, what's
and
she
then
into? Like,
your
what's her interests?
Yeah, she's all
Wait.
same interests.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And then your best friend comes over and he goes, no, she's crazy. Like she's the worst.
I'd
She's
be
a
like, good thing for
demon.
you. I love crazy.
Yeah. Would you keep going?
Yeah. You
I don't
kidding
trust. I don't trust
Green
other,
flag.
I don't trust other people. I would be like, let me see for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I would keep that in my mind,
Mm.
and I would be like, huh.
Yeah.
let
So
me
they're like,
see.
no, she's evil. She's the worst person ever.
And I'd be like, people exaggerate.
You'd be like, that's no.
But I would.
So
keep it
you
in
would
my,
be Nick in this situation.
Yeah, because Nick's hot.
Of course, I would be Nick. Yeah.
I would be. It would raise a red flag,
Sure.
and I would keep it in my mind as I moved forward slowly. What about you?
Ooh, actually, I have had people warn me about people, and then I did ignore that. So I guess.
So we have the answer. She started trying to separate Mega and Nick. If Nick came over to be with Mega, she would always make him feel guilty about not spending enough time with her. She would start fights with Mega and then act like the poor victim over text to Nick. Nick would then call Mega all upset and angry, and Mega would try to explain that Lilith was just trying to manipulate him. All of this I saw as a spectator. Mega would tell me every time Lilith did something sneaky to try and break his friendship with Nick, and I believed everything he said because I knew what kind of a person she was. Then one day, Lilith and Mega had a massive fight. Our parents had gone on a couple's weekend getaway and had left Lilith in charge since she was the oldest. I was about 15 at this time, while Mega was 19 and Lilith was 20.
So Lilith is like a child. Like she has not grown up at all.
Because she was the one in charge, she got given the money we were supposed to use for food. But of course, Lilith took the money for herself and bought a bunch of crap just for her, including, I remember, a pair of gold high heels. They're like, dude, we need to eat. And she's like, but I look fabulous.
She's like, I look great. I don't need to eat because I look hot.
Yeah, damn. They were pretty, but we couldn't eat them. Mega blew up on Lilith, and Lilith shouted back that she was older, better, and deserved it, blah, blah, blah. Mega got her parents on the phone, told them what happened, and they ripped into Lilith, telling her to give her pocket money to Mega so he could look after us and buy us food for the weekend. Lilith shouted and cried, but eventually gave in, never having successfully manipulated Matt in her life.
Or at least they have a good stepdad. I mean, the mom seems kind of useless. No offense to her. I mean, like, obviously it's hard to be, she was a single mom for a time and stuff, and that's hard, but like, it doesn't seem like she's effectively parented her kids.
She handed the money to Mega with a snarl. Rawr! Then spent the next few hours on the phone to Nick, wailing about how we were both being mean to her while our parents were away, and could she please stay at his house so she wouldn't be bullied anymore. Nick came running and started screaming at Mega for, quote, taking Lilith's money and getting her into trouble. Meanwhile, Lilith stood behind Nick with a smug look on her face while Mega was trying to explain. Nick then yells that Mega's been against the relationship from the beginning, and he didn't know what Mega's problem was, but if he was forcing him to choose between him and Lilith, he chose his girlfriend. Let's pour one out for all
Another angel's lost
the
its wings.
bromance relationships that get broken up because of a girl. Now I know a lot of you will call Nick stupid, but don't. I knew how manipulative Lilith could be. She was a master at making people sorry for her and getting them on her side, even when she was horrible to them, just like she did with me. That night, I had to listen to Mega cry for the first time since I knew him, and I had enough. My friend, the doctor, I talked about him before, he studied this therapy in med school called Hakomi therapy, and they have this character map, essentially what age you got wounded at and how that influence your personality, and it influenced your personality to be like one of two things based on that specific stage that you were wounded in. And the later stages, around like 2-ish to 3, are the power stages of when you're like developing and learning to navigate power, you know, like the 2-year-old toddler that screams. And if you get wounded in that stage, many people that get wounded turn very manipulative and they try to control power because of that. And those are like the very charming people and the people that like get their way and things like that. So she was 4 years old when OP was born, and maybe 2. When did the parents get divorced? Regardless,
Yeah.
it's possible that she got wounded in that stage and developed all these like power manipulative structures. So context, interesting, yeah. I knocked on his door, asked him if he was all right. We ordered a pizza and we started to plot. Mega was rather defeated by this point, but I told him that if his friendship with Nick meant anything, he had to get him away from that devil spawn before he lost his friend for good. And so we plotted. Lilith spent the entire weekend with Nick and came back all happy and smug, rubbing it in Mega's face that Nick had chosen her, but via our plan. Nick said nothing back, acted defeated, and let her do her talking. For the next few weeks, that's all she did. Whenever Nick came over to the house, she would spend time with him in her room, and when he'd leave, she'd prance around Mega, bragging about how much Nick loved her and asking Mega snidely if he missed his little friend. Every time she did this, her focus was entirely on Mega. She never once looked at me, and that
was a
her
big mistake.
Biggest mistake.
And apparently everyone's saying, or Harriet Spaghetti says, Lilith isn't in the Bible. She's from Jewish mythology.
Which is the Bible. Finally, the day of her 21st birthday had arrived. Nick and Mega hadn't spoken in weeks, and the few times Nick had gingerly tried to make things up with Mega, Lilith would walk in screaming about how he had already chosen her, and that if he wanted to be friends with Mega again, then their relationship was over. Nick would always look miserable, but would side with her nonetheless. Mega had had enough. The fact that Lilith was making his best friend so unhappy purely for her own selfishness snapped something in him, and he told me it was time to put our plan into action.
Woo!
Woo!
This is heating up.
Let's go. This was where my part of our plan finally took center stage. For her 21st birthday, she had arranged to have her party at the house since it was huge and more than enough space for all her university friends. Our parents had agreed, but only under the condition that there was no underage drinking and that both Mega and I were allowed to stay in the house. My sister reluctantly agreed, and thus the plan was in motion. On the morning of her birthday, I knocked on her bedroom door. She looked annoyed to see me and asked me snidely, "What do you want?" I instantly told her I had the best idea. I told her I wanted to record her for her 21st birthday. I wanted to record her getting ready with her friends, talking about her plans after leaving university, record all her friends at the party, then set up the recording on a big projector Matt had in his office so everyone could see it. This was before the time where smartphones were everywhere, so recording yourself was still something of a novelty, and I was using an old-fashioned camcorder I had gotten a few birthdays ago. Now, despite the fact that she did not like me, her wrath had been focused on Mega for so long that she most likely never saw me as a threat. And because of this, both her and her friends seemed to love the idea. I spent the entire morning with them, recording them all getting ready, putting on their makeup, and of course, introducing themselves to the camera. My sister was lapping it up. She looked into the cameras, like she was a supermodel movie star, preening and talking loudly about her successful future and how amazing her birthday party was going to be. That day, I reverted back to my old role as a servant, fetched her and her friends drinks and food, and made a grand show of complimenting all of them and telling them how amazing they looked on camera and that they could all be actresses someday. They were loving it.
We're falling into the trap.
Falling right into
so
where I want
easily
them.
do they lap up the lies.
So, the party starts and my sister told me to stay out of the way. I told her innocently that it was no problem, that I'd just stay in my room all night, edit the recordings, and come down to set up the camcorder when she was ready, because I wanted the night to be perfect for her. Satisfied with my answer, she left the room, and I did exactly what I said I'd do. I edited my recording. A few hours later, and one of her friends came to my room and told me she was ready. I set up the projector in the large living room, connected it to Matt's computer, and started playing the recordings for all her guests to see. The first part of the recordings was exactly what I promised. My sister and her friends introducing themselves and laughing in her bedroom as they had been hours earlier. I looked at my sister, who seemed so satisfied that all the attention was on her. Then I looked at Mega, who was hiding in the corner of the room, and gave him a subtle thumbs up. Then the video started to change. It started to play clips of Lilith shouting at Mega,
Whoa.
calling him names and taunting him about Nick. It started showing Lilith snidely telling Mega that Nick belonged to her and that she was going to do her best to make Nick hate Mega so they would never be friends again.
Oh my God.
It even showed clips of Lilith bragging about all the lies she told Nick and how he was so gullible. Every single argument I had recorded without her knowledge, I'd edited it into this video. Everyone in the party was watching silently as Lilith's true self was exposed in clip after clip.
This feels like a movie.
I was gonna say
This feels like a movie.
Too good to be true.
This feels like a movie.
This is crazy.
How did you record all of that?
Because remember, she was like, "Oh," and then Mega she never looked at me when she was
Yeah, she
getting
was
mad
just
at
like-
Mega, and she was like, "That's where I wanted her to be."
Yeah, that's crazy.
How could
Too
you
good.
not? It's not like she's
Yeah,
like
nice,
having
yeah.
a phone being like this. It's like
Yeah.
a freaking camcorder.
Yeah, it's a camcorder.
Yeah, they didn't have phones back then.
How did she not see you camcordering?
I don't know if I believe this,
I-
but let's read on. This is good. So everyone in the party was watching silently as Lilith's true self was exposed in clip after clip. While Lilith stood there frozen, completely unable to comprehend what was going on. When she finally snapped out of it, she turned on me and she started screaming, yelling at me and asking me, "How could you do this?" I never said a word. I just smiled. When the recording stopped, Mega turned the lights on and everyone was staring at Lilith. Clearly having no defense, she let out a loud cry and stormed up to her room, slamming the door so hard everyone heard it. The next day, Mega told me Nick had apologized for everything and that he was so stupid to so blindly believe everything she said. He even told me that Nick had thanked me specifically for helping him see what a monster my sister truly was. When my parents came home, both Mega and I were grounded for ruining Lilith's birthday and for using Matt's stuff without permission. But they had to admit, they're like, all right, but like, you're grounded, but
Good work.
good work. I'm proud of you.
You did good.
Yeah, gold star. But neither of us cared. Mega got his best friend back, and a few months later, so Lilith moved out since after seeing the recordings of her behavior, my parents were disgusted by her.
Ouch. Ouch.
And they had absolutely no problems with showing it. Oh, since she no longer had any leverage over anyone in the house, she packed her bags and moved to stay in one of her college dorms. I've never had any problems with my sister since, and to this day, Megan and I are as close as two siblings can be. I always laugh about the time we defeated the demon and saved us all from its clutches.
What a tale.
Woo! And there is an update.
What a tale. What a tale.
I don't believe it, but that was entertaining.
But it was entertaining regardless
That
of
was a
whether or
straight
not.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Jem says, I gotta see the camcord footage.
Yeah.
Give me proof.
Thank you so much for the support and the gold. For everyone asking what happened next, well, Mega and Nick are still best friends to this day.
Wow.
Mega was the best man at Nick's wedding, and before you ask, he learned his lesson about dating witches. His wife is as sweet as a cherry top. Mega's happily living his life as a single man for now and is currently working as a carpenter, restorator. I'm in a very healthy, very happy relationship with my man of 4 years. We're not married, but I'm hoping soon. And as for Lilith, well, I don't see much of her these days. Last I heard from Mom, she was living alone somewhere near the seaside, is working in one of those arcade places, and still gives as many F's about us as we do about her. She only ever comes home to ask Mom and Matt for money and hasn't talked to either me or Mega in a long while. As much as I'd like to say she learned her lesson, I don't see her personality changing anytime soon. Nonetheless, Mega and I are still really close, and Nick and I always joke about who's going to be the best man at his wedding. And there is an update, too. This reads literally like a 2000s rom-com.
Yes. Yes. This is absolutely 2000s rom-com. This is like the title would be like,
How to Fight a Demon.
yeah, how to
How
fight
to fight a demon in 10 days.
How to fight a demon in 10 days.
That's funny. Sequel number 2 to the story.
Ooh, there's more.
Update number 2. For everyone calling out my parents for not doing anything to stop Lilith's behavior, I'd like to first point out that we were all pretty private kids. I suffered from social anxiety and aphophobia well into my early 20s. So when I was a kid watching all this crap go down, I just followed Mega's lead since he was my hero. As for Mega, well, he actually lived with his mom for the first half of his life and only visited his dad a few times a year since they lived so far apart, but his mom passed. So he had to uproot his whole life to move in with Matt. Then a while later, he inherited a mother, a nervous younger sister, and a witchy demon spawn.
Okay, so I got the aphophobia for you. It's
Yeah.
the fear of being touched.
Oh,
It's rational fear of being touched.
that sucks.
Aw.
That's probably why he never really spoke to his dad about what was happening all those times, because Mega and Lilith have gotten into many petty fights over the years. I could tell many stories, but they kept all the warfare silent, neither wanting to involve our parents. And as for my mom and Matt, well, I don't really know what Matt was feeling besides loving my mom, but I know that my mom put a lot of herself into a relationship with Matt. Not meaning that she loved us any less, but after my dad left, we had to downsize our whole life, and she had to get 2 jobs to look after us all. But if you want to look after us all, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss.
I feel like I don't have anything to discuss. I
No.
think you solved it.
You solved the movie.
Yeah.
All right. So when she met this amazing guy who literally swept her right off her feet, let her quit one of her jobs so she wasn't so exhausted, bought her kids gifts, and genuinely cared about all of us, I think she let herself go blind to some of the conflict in the house. It doesn't make her a bad person. I love her dearly. But Matt kind of became my mom's top priority, especially since by the time we all moved in with him, we were older and could fend for ourselves. So that's basically why neither of them ever stopped what was happening. They either didn't really notice or thought it was all pretty kid stuff, as us young adults could sort amongst ourselves. So there are times I think she should have done better, but she was literally miserable before she met Matt, even though she tried hard to hide it, and now she's happy. I just can't bring myself to reprimand her for not seeing all the stuff that happened years ago.
Yeah, I think that you really took the route with the mostest.
Nice.
Just the
You did them.
you did the most.
You did the most.
You did the most.
That was crazy.
That was a great
crazy
story.
That was a
crazy story.
I really good story. I
Um,
still don't believe it's true,
but even if it,
but regardless,
Yeah.
that was entertaining.
yeah, you entertained me. Oh my
I'm thoroughly
goodness,
entertained.
a lot happened. But,
I just would love to be at that party.
Please, that would bring joy to my heart.
My sister started a petty argument. Now she's refusing to come to my wedding.
Oh, who's gonna out petty who?
Hi all, looking for some advice on how to handle this situation because I'm on the verge of canceling our wedding.
Wow.
My sister and I have always fought. She bullied me through much of my youth, calling me fat and kicking me when I was down after a bad breakup, telling me I should go off a bridge somewhere. But in recent years, we have more or less gotten on better terms as she's approached her 30s. My mom always placated her and told me I was worse for listening to her hurtful comments and I should take no notice of them. But they still stick with me and they still hurt. She has severe anger management issues and has a pattern of control and being unstable to bear something not being about her. By the way, this comes from Classic Fig 1222 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when my partner and I got engaged, she announced at our drinks celebrations immediately after, I feel so alone, in a joking way, but it was not the time to be saying such things.
Yeah, definitely not.
She also tried to construct a drama where she said she did not want to be maid of honor, that she knew I prefer my best friend anyway. I dealt with this by telling her I'd only have bridesmaids and no ranking of it, and I'd of course love her to be one, despite our strained relationship for my mother's sake. From the get-go, it was clear she wanted to create drama.
She's like, why can't I be the number one bridesmaid?
Drama, drama, llama, drama, drama, llama. She came to visit me last year. I live in a different country and threw a tantrum the day I had arranged to go looking at dresses with her. It was special to me to have her involved and to be the first one at the moment I looked at dresses. She apologized, but the rest of the trip was difficult. She spent most of it off with friends on a road trip, and after storming out of my house for something as basic as me not being able to look for a towel for her while I was in a meeting, she texted me during the road trip saying she didn't care if she saw me again anyway, but asked if she could still stay at my house for the last few days of her trip. She announced she'd be arriving at midnight in the middle of my working week. I obviously felt like my house was a hotel at this point, and she was only coming to have some place free to stay while she went out with her friends. But I said I'd love to see her and spend time with her. However, she would have to come earlier or stay with her friends that night, as I had an important job talk the next day and had to go to bed early.
Hey, I got responsibilities. I gotta go to bed early.
I thought this was entirely reasonable since we both lived in the UK. She never allowed me to stay the night at hers in London after taking the train to visit friends because of her work, and I always respected that. This caused another blow up on her end. I got a stream of nasty messages saying she was done with me and wasn't coming. She blocked me on everything and left the country without even saying goodbye. This was very triggering for me as I survived a narcissistic, very bad relationship in my 20s, and he would always send bad messages like that and block me so I had no voice. I used to respond to him via email or LinkedIn when that happened, begging him to speak to me. I have done a lot of therapy to know that with people like this, you just should not respond. So I ignored her. She has a tendency to blow up and say things she doesn't mean, so I let it go and months later wished her a happy birthday. I eventually chose my dress with my mom, who later visited me, and then I thanked my sister for contributing to the process. This resulted in me waking up to an essay of very bad messages, announcing I needed to apologize for not letting her just turn up at my home in the middle of the night at all those months previous, and that she hated me, and to take her message as the final RSVP that she was not coming to my wedding.
Wow. What a classy way to uninvite yourself somewhere.
With very nice messages. She then reblocked me so I could not respond. She has a severe need to control. But again, I didn't plan to respond anyway since I'm an adult and cannot engage in these types of blow-ups. My best friend since tried to invite her to my bachelorette party, and she texted her abusive messages saying she wanted nothing to do with me and refused to come. I was so embarrassed. My friends were all very shocked on the day that she didn't show up, but I was grateful for their love and support. They know I come from a very dysfunctional family. Over a year has gone by, and my mother keeps telling me I need to pick up the phone to her as she refuses to speak to me otherwise. I am enraged by this level of control. She knows my mother will be upset on my wedding day if she is not there, and thus that the day will end up being about her and her insane negativity. She wants me to apologize. For what?
This is just a master manipulation course.
Oh, yeah. Setting a boundary that I could not stay up late and asking her to drive here earlier. I feel like she would have constructed this argument about anything. It was always going to happen. She was always sick on my birthdays, and my parents would not celebrate my good grades in high school, lest she feel bad about hers.
Dude, that sucks. I hate people like that where it's like, you're not allowed to feel good because I feel bad.
That's so silly.
Master manipulator.
I was always made to minimize, and I just think I deserve one day in my life to be about me and my husband. I've had a rough life. She witnessed the abuse I went through, and she should be happy I have found happiness. I'm also so mad at my mom that she is not appalled that my sister is doing this. She keeps saying she's not there and is not getting involved, but then takes trips to see my sister and hang out with her and tells me that actions have consequences and that I should pick up the phone to her.
These people are living in backwards land.
She always had a "my Johnny does no wrong" attitude towards her. My mom has spent more time controlling the various strangers she wants me to invite than intervening and telling my sister this behavior is appalling. Yeah, no one in your sister's life is ever going to confront her.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like
she's the confrontable type.
My partner has tried to contact my sister to mediate. He's very hurt by her behavior too and for seeing me so upset by this, but he grew up in a functional family and is better as not rising to things. He's being very kind to her and appealing to her as her brother-in-law that he'd love his family to meet her. However, she keeps saying I need to contact her despite blocking me on everything. Honestly, at this point, I am hurt that my sister has done this the year of my wedding, and I have nothing good to say to her. I actually think I just don't want her there. It feels unrecoverable. The only reason I'd want her there would be so my mom does not cry the morning of. She was already upset that she was not at my bachelorette party and blamed me.
Why is it not her fault? It's not OP's fault. It's the sister's fault.
This is crazy, dude.
They need to start making her take accountability for her behavior.
This is wacko land.
Upside down, topsy-turvy, bizarro.
Yes. My dream workplace that I'm living away from home to work at and work towards being at since I was a kid is also going through layoffs. Second round likely the week of our wedding. And I'll lose my job soon, which has been breaking my heart. I was due to be hired there permanently. I am a temporary employee, but now I have to look for new jobs and plan moving my life into a new state after this wedding. I may have no income soon. My sister has heard this through my mom and still hasn't reached out. Add to that, I have to plan a wedding while this petty nonsense is carrying on, and I feel my family are not there for me. My dad is also a backcrap insano and shouts in public over minor things, and I'm worrying about him embarrassing me on the day. My mom deals with this by drinking excessively, and I'm afraid she'll be a mess at the wedding.
Yikes.
But you don't have to be a mess. Joining us every weekday live at 3 p.m. PST, just tap our profile. Do we just uninvite everybody?
Yeah, I think we just have like a secret wedding, just a nice secret wedding.
Yep.
Where no one from your family is invited.
And then have a fake wedding for them to ruin.
Yeah, you can give them a fake wedding date for them to show up and be like, well, no one's here. Like, it's because we had the wedding a different day already because you're terrible. Everybody, find yourself a good body double. It can get you out of a lot of bad situations.
I've been having daily panic attacks, and I feel nothing but dread about our special day. My partner is a saint for dealing with the stress I'm under. It's costing us tens of thousands of dollars, and it feels like a waste of money if I am feeling this way about it.
Exactly.
I'm so angry that my family has managed to ruin something that should be the most joyous moment of my life. I obviously am struggling to stay in shape with these extreme levels of stress and resort to medication for this last week, which had me throwing up all week. My hair is falling out. T-minus 4 months, although I love my partner so much. Thankfully, we are already legally married.
Great.
Oh.
Good job. Nice.
I feel like the only option not to break down in tears the morning of is to cancel it. I wish I could defy all of this and still have a great day. Does anyone have any advice or has been through a similar situation? That's it. Dang. Honestly, if it's like causing you that much stress, just don't invite them. If you're already legally married,
Yeah.
I wouldn't invite the family.
Exclude them. Exclude
Yeah.
the people who are already like ruining your life.
Yeah.
Basically, if you've already spent all this money on it, like definitely, I wouldn't just like waste that, like burn that, you know?
Yeah, my grandma got married without me knowing, and I figured it out a few months after.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, sometimes when grandma gets married, she likes to do it, you know, in private.
Yeah.
The last wedding I went to was one of my aunts, and we all knew about it. So
Oh, that's nice. Good for you.